could have just said woman. I felt like the young part in front of it was purposely to infantilize and give the idea that she was younger than what she actually was to make it seem like he was a pedophile. That's just my perspective consuming media as much as I have to, that's what I thought it was, and that's why I said what I said. Now, if you
Well,
that it was different that you're coming from, then that's fine. Then I see what you're saying. But that was my initial reaction to it when I first saw it.
typically people in media don't soften their accusations. They just state them outright. Like if someone is accused of sleeping with somebody under the age of 18, someone will say they're accused of having sex with a blank, whatever their age
Okay,
is.
now let's
But
say
in addition to the 25-year-old, the article also went into the allegations that he had pursued a 19-year-old. So a 19-year-old is certainly a young woman and not just a woman.
I got you. So just as far as the term young women, like let's say you're saying that newspapers will just outright say the allegation, they won't try to soften it. So this apply, for example, to the New York Post and the Murdoch, companies whenever they cover a Republican that they're trying to get elected. Is that something that they would probably do?
I mean, probably. I mean, if you have a specific example of a time that a journalist used young women to soften the accusation that someone slept with a young girl,
I mean,
then that would be one
I,
thing.
I honestly don't have one like right now. I could search for one and maybe DM it to you later. But we've already come to an agreement that a newspaper can do that. So you already said it's possible for the New York Post to do it. So something that's possible that can happen. So
Sure, it's possible, but I didn't do it. So why did you
I
accuse
know.
me of doing
So
it?
that's the impression that I got when I first saw it. I thought this is to clickbait it. This is to get more clicks. So if you're saying that that's not it, then I see your point 100%. And that's it. I mean, yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Right, Kamira, then let me ask you. So to be honest with you, this whole thing has just gotten so convoluted, and you're basically, like, not to be rude, but just genuinely, you're kind of talking yourself into circles here with semantics of like, this is what I meant, and this is my intention, and well, I'm a comedian, and this is that. So just like, yes or no, do you actually think that you have done anything at all wrong? Either way, like, just what do you think?
I mean, that's like a huge, broad statement. Do I think I've done anything wrong? Like
In this situation?
in this situation, I've outlined my intentions. I was joking. I mean, if jokes hurt people's feelings, then that's what it is. If he wants to reach out to me via DMs, I've already said he wants to come on here. We can have a conversation and talk this out. Like I just had Kat on. She just explained what she was thinking. Keemstar was on earlier. I'm not opposed to conversation. I'm clearly here. I've been on here for hours at this point. So anybody can join. They can talk. That's that. That's what it is right here, right now. This is what we're doing. That's it.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's grand. Like, obviously, you're having people on, you're talking to them, and like maybe your opinion will change. But I mean, in this current moment, is your opinion that in this situation you've done anything wrong? And if it's not,
What's
then you don't
wrong?
think you did.
Making a pretty broad and blanket statement. Have you done anything? What's the wrong that you
Like,
see?
do you think you've gone too far with your jokes in this
Jokes
specific situation with Papa Gut? Do you think you took it too far?
all the time. I mean, I've done shows where I tell a joke, people are laughing. Another minute, I tell another joke, and they don't laugh. Then maybe I went too far. I mean, there was one time I was getting heckled, and usually people are on your side when you get heckled, and they were. I started cracking jokes with this guy who was heckling me because he started talking about his wife and stuff, and I thought it was weird. So I cracked jokes, and then it got to a point where I said they were going to get divorced, and everybody was like, oh. So I guess to a point, you crack enough jokes, you're going to cross the line. It's just what it is, you know?
I get that, but it just feels like in every way you're just kind of trying to talk around it. And like, honestly, if you don't think you've stepped over the line or whatever, that's fine if you don't think that you have. But it feels like, I don't know, you're just trying to avoid saying that, or you're trying to avoid it's saying one way or the other just to like wait and see what happens. And I
So, so how, this is something you've repeated. You said that you think I'm talking around it. So how can we get to the core of the issue?
well, mainly if I'm talking about this one specific question, do you think you took it too far? you start talking about intention and comedy and this and that. Like it's a very simple question. Do you think you took it too far, or do you not think you took it too far? Like, let's take for example the t-shirts. Do you think the t-shirts were too far? Because I personally do.
Here's the thing. That's it. That's your interpretation of it. I may ask someone else, and they may think that I didn't take it far enough. My job isn't to judge how far I go. It's to go. Other people say you've gone too far. That's how it works in my business. That's how it works. That's how it works with comedy. That's, if people are, it's reactions. So you think I went too far. We may ask somebody else. They may think, dude, you didn't go far enough. So the line isn't for me to decide. From what I decide is, do I go to it? How far do I go? Where does it end?
I have a question real quick. Do you know how you were saying earlier how comedy is punching up nowadays? Do you feel you punched down because he was sitting there minding his own business and you like judo chopped him out of nowhere?
So here's the thing. He wasn't just sitting there minding his own business. We need like a little bit of framing here.
Okay. I didn't know if he did anything to start it. Go ahead. Thanks.
Okay. So he's been making videos about me since December, right? And I started responding as of a few days ago, right? Because he's been making videos about me nonstop. I made one video, I think, responding, and then I had the conversation with him. And then I haven't made any videos about him, period. Haven't made any statements on Twitter. And then after months of him making video after video after video after video, and then numerous tweets about me, like on the day, there was one day that he tweeted about me maybe 6 or 7 times. And I responded with one tweet. And there was a joke in it and pissed a lot of people off. But at the end of the day, it was one response to 6 of his tweets. So there's some disparagement right now of like how people are interpreting.
Okay. I get that from your perspective, but to be fair too, he is like a commentary guy and you are a news guy. So that'd be like saying you talk about Charlie D'Amelio too much or Trisha Paytas. Do you know what I mean? And she doesn't respond back. And then if she responds back and goes under, punches below the belt, like.
Here's the thing. I just corrected the framing because you said he was there minding his own business, and now we're
No, you're right, and I apologize for saying that.
Now we're shifting what he was doing, so we have to acknowledge that first, right?
Right, you're right.
He was publishing. That's fine. That's his job. But he was publishing video after video after video and doing all this stuff. My response was the way that I respond to things. I made jokes. I made memes, and some people on the chat clearly think that I took it too far. Other people don't think I took it far enough because there were people telling me they thought it was hilarious and other stuff. So it's a difference of how people are seeing it.
I get it. And that's my point too, is that people didn't see him doing the bunch of videos, because I watch him a lot and I see him doing videos on a bunch of different people all the time.
I mean, I invite you right now to go through his channel and screenshot all the videos. Just go and search Def Noodles and see how many videos he's made about me. You'll see.
Right.
Search his timeline to see how many tweets he's posted about me. I invite you to go look.
Right, but the internet's not seeing that, so they're seeing. Do you know what I mean? Even somebody who follows him doesn't see it like that, because they'll see you sprinkled in with a bunch of other people as well. Like he goes.
So let me just finish, and then
sorry. Go ahead.
I'm punching up or down. So I choose my targets, like I said. If somebody's making enough videos about me, and I feel the need to respond, because there are people who there are people who legit have made numerous videos about me, and I haven't ever responded, and I don't know if I ever will. But if I felt the need to respond, I'm going to go and do it. So at the end of the day, if you're going to make a video about me, whether it's punching up or down, I have the right to retort. I have the right to put in my 2 cents in there. And the way I put in my 2 cents may bother some people, but it's the way that I do my 2 cents. So it's, it may be a quarter instead of 2 cents. It may be a couple of, pennies, which is 2 cents. It may be 5 nickels, which is a lot of. Steven.
Okay, so I feel you, and I understand now a little bit more. So it's not more of like holding a grudge for 4 months. You feel like constantly video after video against you.
Dude, for these 4 months, I was like building a space. I was painting it. I rented a place that was like unkept since the 70s. I had to like renovate the whole space. I wasn't thinking about this shit. I have better shit to do. Like,
wait, but then how did you notice he was making all these videos and tweets about you?
Because people send me stuff. They DM me all the time, and I see it. I may not watch the video, but like I'm like, oh, okay, made a video. I move on. Like people who are in my life, like Steven's here, he can attest to this. Like the other day when he posted this, like I think he posted like a 20-minute or a 30 whatever minute video. We watched like a clip that somebody sent me, and that was it. Like I don't have time to like be sitting through and watching every single video that's been made about me. There's like just today, there's probably 15. Like I don't have time. Like
But then how do you know if they were good or bad videos on you? Like, because he's been fair and negative about a bunch of different people. Like,
I don't know. I don't watch his content. Like I can't tell you, but like based on his reaction, based on the DMs that I see, that's usually how I know that
indicator. Okay.
Like all of a sudden, if I'm getting death threats, if I'm getting like a bunch of people telling me to go hang myself, a bunch of people telling me that I suck for whatever reason, then I'm like, okay, what happened? Did somebody post something that I look through my DMs? It's either in there or I do a quick like search for my name and I see if there's anything. If there's nothing, then I'm like, I move on. That's what it is.
Okay, there was a few more, but I'm gonna let somebody else ask questions for a minute while I gain my thoughts, because there's a few more things I wanted to ask you about. That's okay.
Yeah. Man, this has been great. This has been fun. It feels like the conversation, it keeps going back to just people losing the context of what happened and you acquiescing to you doing wrong. And I think that's fucking really ill that people are taking it in that direction. Don't acquiesce to shit.
You think
You're gonna make a shitty husband, Steven.
You think I acquiesce, Steven?
No, I think they're trying to get you to, and I'm telling you, keep doing, man. Like I don't care, bro. We gonna keep running this shit. Like,
dude, we all fuck up though, and the point is that when you fuck up, you gotta admit you fucked up. Like,
yeah, but that goes with the people that are involved. Like, we invited Papa Gut into the chat. There's all the Papa Gut apologists in here trying to get Dennis to acquiesce. He said he would talk to Papa Gut. Okay, it's over. It's done. The conversation should be done. Wait till they talk.
It happened on the internet, though. We all have thoughts.
I find it funny that his fans are like legit harassing me now and calling me Dennis's dick rider.
Right. That shit is crazy. I got his fans hitting me up. I've never heard of the dude, and it's like everyone in the room is okay, Dennis, we get you. You're being funny. You're being a comedian, but would you just admit that you crossed the line? Well, would you? Well, what? No, like he said, he jumped on the bomb.
Evangelina asked if you feel you did mess up or you didn't. She just wanted to know. She didn't make him, like, that wasn't a forced question. That's
honestly, they're both annoying me. Like, I don't have any not impartial. I don't have any kind of views either way. I just want to know what they both think about the situation. Like, I don't have any favorites here. I'd never heard of Papa Gut before in my life, and Deaf Noodles I've watched about like 3 videos, so that's about it. I just want to know, like, if he thinks that he's done anything wrong or not. Either way, I don't actually care what his opinion of himself is. I just want to know what it is.
Why is Smaggle in here?
All right, cool.
Fucking Smaggle is in here.
I'm gonna bring in a couple more people, fill out the room a little bit more.
Come here, can I just say one more thing to you before you kick me off here?
I'm not.
Yeah, no, and just I want to say to you, and I don't like. I'm trying to figure out a way to say it that it doesn't come across as rude, because it is actually just going to sound rude. But I just mean, in the most honest way, it just the way you're tweeting at the moment and the way you're talking about everything, it sounds a little bit, and it's coming across a little bit like you're just high off the rush of all the attention you're getting, which, like, good for you, get your attention. Any of us that do YouTube, we all want a bit of attention, but like maybe just take a second. Like, I'm not telling you log off, go touch grass, whatever. Like, genuinely just take a second. And maybe I'm completely wrong and I'm misreading it, but that is just how it's coming across to a lot of us.
It's a common conversation that a lot of influencers have. There's this idea, right? Like, every press is good press. No, like, you don't want to get negative attention. I'm just tweeting funny shit, and I'm not, like, honestly, I plug out a lot of the times. I don't have time to keep looking at everything. I think of something funny and I tweet about it based on the information that I have in that moment. Like, I don't care if I get attention or not about it. It's like, if I were caring about attention, like, I would be doing something else. Trust me, that gets good attention instead of all the negativity that I've been getting recently, which I guess is coming as a result of me sharing the side of me, which is like the funny shit that I think is funny, you know? So right now, The shoe's on the other foot because I made fun of a lot of people when people were on my side then. Right now, the shoe's on the other foot. I'm making fun of someone, and people are clearly on the side of this other person. So, you know, it happens. I mean, what am I supposed to do? I'm living my life one moment at a time and trying to be my most authentic self. And I can't really do anything other than that because I don't know if anybody wants to watch like a fake person, a person be something they're not. You know, so that's I'm you know, doing that to my best. Yeah, and I added a few more people to the room, so if they want to speak or whatever.
Hey, Dennis, I don't want to keep you too long, but I just want to, chime in for a quick moment to say I don't really have an opinion on this situation. However, I do know that you have that ongoing lawsuit with Daniel, and I just wanted to say that even though I do think you have a good, solid case, I would say try to avoid talking about it publicly and don't engage with him. I would hate for you to be in a situation where he can come out and make some sort of BS issue out of it with you and cost you a little bit more legal trouble than it should be. Legal stuff is not really about who's right or wrong. It's about who has the most money and who can, really stretch it out.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, look out for you from that direction. But when it comes to this whole situation, I think so many people have so many opinions. I don't really need to weigh in on it. But yeah, man, I just want to let you know I think you have a good case, and I just don't want you to be in a situation that you really don't need to be into as you try to figure this whole thing out.
Well, I appreciate that, Zach. Thank you so much. By the way, I've been loving the video. You do the Yo Mama videos, right?
Yeah, that is definitely our flagship. And I know that we're both in Los Angeles, so if you ever want to shoot the shit and link up, let me know.
Oh my fucking god.
Yeah, we can make it happen.
Definitely.
I'll reach out in DMs. I'll love to have you over by the office. Want to stop by or something else?
Yeah, totally, definitely. I'm gonna go ahead and bounce out because I'm at an event right now. But it was good to speak with you. And Kat, always good to hear what you have to say too. So hopefully I'll catch you around soon. Have a good one, guys.
You too.
Bye, Zach.
All right. We got any more? Anybody else who wants to talk? I'm gonna start winding down in a minute.
Yeah,
So,
I've got.
Why
I
wind
wanna
down
say
yet, Dennis?
something.
2 hours.
Wow. So I'm in the UK. So this has been really interesting because I should have gone to bed by now because it's nearly 2 a.m. But like, what's really amazed me tonight is how many people, and I don't want to be offensive here, but who I picked up on what you said about there are news channels. And I do appreciate we watch YouTube and we go down wormholes and we watch stuff and we watch commentators and we all do that. But the people where I've had glimmers of people that are actually trying to put on not even just you, but people that are so blatantly just doing commentary or comedy or whatever bit. And they're like saying this, if they watch this, they're going to take it all at face value. Well, like at the end of the day, like I'm gay and I'm left wing and everything, but I will still sometimes go and watch right wing media because I think I have to kind of know what the other side is still saying. So it's amazing to me that some people are trying to put the ownership on one YouTube channel to be feeding them all of the knowledge that they take with them in the world about, like you say, some irrelevant news. And also, I'm just going to say this, I'm going to go. I've noticed a lot of sad fishing is going on as well. And I think we sometimes do hold people up too much to account. And you've kind of already addressed and said you're going to speak to someone privately or whatever. So I feel like people are sometimes just they're only going to be happy if you actually say, do you know what? Yeah, I'm totally wrong. I'm a shit person. See you later. The space has ended. Was it funny? Was it not? Obviously, I think this Twitter space has shown different sides, but I think it's some people outraged. Some people just like to hang on to some sort of outrage, and I'll leave that there because I do genuinely believe that you are going to probably end up having this conversation with this guy somewhere somehow, and yeah, there you go.
Well, it's interesting you say that because I think he just published a tweet a few minutes ago that somebody pinned it on here. It says,
yeah,
that he's not talking to me. on the Twitter Spaces. He says it's a very clear attempt to minimize the amount of exposure to him, trying to backpedal on slandering me because he realizes he fucked up. So this is.
Oh my god! So basically, you can do it on his live stream because he wants the views, whatever, mate. It's nearly 2 a.m. It's just all a fucking circus. If you all can't sit in here tonight and see that for what it is right now, Dennis, go there, go on that live stream, take him a box of chocolates, buy him a bottle of wine, do whatever. Everyone's like just trying to get from day to
What
day.
is this guy talking about?
So yeah, there you go. That tweet's just proven it all. Welcome to the circus, everybody. And you've all danced to it for the last 3 hours, including me.
Yeah. So I appreciate you, Steven. Thank you so much. So yeah, that's I guess he's not on. I guess he does not want to have this conversation now, which is fine. I mean,
Hey Dennis, Adam McIntyre's listening and wants to talk, apparently.
Oh yeah, he wants to talk. Okay, one sec. I don't see him in the list here. Let's see if I can go through and.
I've already had about 6 DMs asking me to ask if Adam McIntyre can come on.
6 DMs? Oh man, a lot of people.
Specifically about him.
Here we go. I see. He just moved up. It's like freshened.
Real quick, would you ever go on Papa Gut's live stream?
I've been on his live before.
Like again.
If that's what he wants to do, that's fine. It's whatever it is. It is what it is. I've been on his live before. It didn't go so well on my behalf. Not that it would have to go the same way, but like I said, I'm open to a conversation. If he wants to DM me, I'm here right now. So whatever he wants to do. I don't see Adam here anymore.
I'm getting messages from Sarah Ann who would like to talk. She has something to say. Tendies, Kabocha.
Looks like he left. If anybody sees him, let me know.
Really fucking
I'll add. Oh, here we go. Just see. He's just like, okay, all right. Just invited him to speak. Just found him. Okay. All right. Anybody else got anything they want to say?
I wonder what Nicholas Fury is like.
Hi, Def.
Yo, what's goody?
It's good. I am a little curious about your comedy past, because I think we both did a lot of those same open mics in New York, and it feels a little bit like you're trying to romanticize that experience.
Sure.
Sure.
So yeah, what's your point?
Well, I'm just curious, like, why do you think that struggle is pertinent to, like, you know, being the comic YouTuber?
Okay, so first off, which mics did you do in New York? Just so I can know if we ran into each other or not, because you're like making a bunch of assumptions already.
Well, I mean, we could do Laugh Lounge, Stand Up New York, Eastville, Creep.
I did a bunch of shows at Eastville. I used to host mics at the Grizzly Pear. I used to host mics at I guess it's called the Buddha Lounge. It used to be the Climate Lounge in the Village. I think I hosted Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays there. Like I did that maybe 2-3 years. I'm good friends, or haven't talked to him in a few years, but Jeff Lawrence, who runs those mics, get into a lot of those shows. I'm also good friends with the Taya brothers, who own the Stand. Did shows there as well. So, I mean, I'm trying to understand what your point is.
I just, like, doing those open mics in itself is a difficult experience. You're trying to make other comedians laugh, and it can often feel like you're just pulling teeth. You know, it's antagonistic. It can be angry. So if you're trying to take that same approach to, like, being a YouTuber...
Not the same approach, because any comic who graduates off to other, shows, whether you're doing Bringers or any other kind of show, I did a lot of club shows in New York. Like I said, I performed at the Stand at Eastville, and like actual nights where there were like headlining comedians. Like I've also even my own like open mics that I've used to host back in the day. I had like major comedians, like people who are on Last Comic Standing, come and do. Like I was even telling Steven this story. 15-minute set, bombed the whole time. So yeah, I'm familiar that there are different rooms and that you play to these different rooms. And I've done clubs there, I've done clubs here. It's like I've done clubs in DC. I've done shows in DC that were some of the best shows in my entire life. I also did a show that absolutely sucked in DC that I was awful. And it's what happens. You know, you get used to it just being what it is. Each room is a different room. You try to tap in. Sometimes you start off bombing and then you end up on a good note. Sometimes you start off doing amazing and then you can't even find your closer. And then you run the light and then you're just trying to chase the laugh. It's like, I don't really know what to tell you because I'm unsure of what point you're trying to make. But each room is going to be a different room.
I mean, I'm not really trying to make a point. It's more just I'm a little curious on, like, you weren't headlining those rooms. You were doing your 5 to 15 or hosting, which is fine and normal.
I know comedians now who work on TV shows and aren't headlining rooms in major clubs. I have a lot of friends who write for MTV, write for every fucking crazy show that you can know of, and they're not headlining the main rooms at these clubs because a lot of it is who you know. So, you know, like, I don't know what to tell you. Headlining, the business of it, like, you know, I've gotten a lot of check spots. That's one thing, you know, like I got bumped by the last show I did before the end of the pandemic. I got bumped by Jeremy Piven, of all people. He's been doing stand-up because he got canceled. You know, so that was what was happening.
Yeah, but no, it's just, but that level of comedy isn't necessarily succeeding as a comedian. That is still the struggle. Like, I understand there are a lot of comics.
I'm sure that Steven can also attest to this. He's been doing this for fucking years. But that's 99% of comics are not on a level where they're getting paid headliners. And sometimes these headliners are going to places, they're getting paid $400 to do one show or whatever. It's not like enough for you to survive. You know, like they have other jobs. They have writing jobs. They have freelance gigs that they do. They have acting jobs, and they have a bunch of other ways to supplement their income. So it's very hard to make a living. Like, not everybody's Bill Burr or Dave Chappelle or Chris Rock to get paid millions of dollars to do a special. A lot of these guys are living paycheck to paycheck. I know, like I said, I know guys who were on Last Comic Standing who don't make a living as stand-up comics, who like make a living off of writing jokes for other people. You know, Neil Brennan for a long time made his bread and butter writing jokes for other people. So it's not really a clear-cut career path as a comic.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah, I did my struggle for 5 years and learned how hard open mics can be. But I don't also call myself a comedian because I never made it past that point. I don't think
is that
it's
your
fair
whole
to use all of
point to call, because he's calling himself a comedian? That's the point you're trying to make? Like, you're saying he shouldn't be calling himself a comedian? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm saying,
Yeah, what's your point?
it's just that struggle is like very integral to growing up in the open mic space. And if you just say that you went through this comedy world, people not in it might not necessarily understand that, you know, you're not necessarily a comedian in the full sense of the term. You just went through.
I call myself a YouTuber and I have like 6,000 followers, you know, or subscribers. Like, I'm trying to like understand. You're saying he shouldn't call himself a comedian because people, like, he doesn't really understand the comedian world.
Hasn't reached the upper echelon of comedy to where he's headlining.
I guess
yeah.
He's trying to say that he only maybe considers like Bill Burr or people who are headlining to be comedians. Look, my first paycheck, like as a comedian, writing sketches. I used to write sketches for Univision. I mentioned this earlier. I mentioned this in my interview. I was interviewed on one of the biggest comedy podcasts in the country a week after David Sedaris. So I feel like that attributes a little bit of credibility to my comedic background. But I was literally one of my jobs in New York. I was a sketch writer for Univision for their online digital content, and I used to pump out 50 sketches a week. We would throw away 99% of them and keep 3 of them, and then work them to the fucking ground, and then we would go on and film them and end up improvising 99% of it. It's just what it is, you know. And I did that job for a long time. I also edited and did a bunch of other things for them. But yeah, that was my job. I also, you know, I was involved in a bunch of different comedy communities in New York because it's how it works. It's how, you know, you bring each other up. I was an improv.
But that's what. So that's what he's saying, though, right? Like, Verified Steven is saying that you shouldn't be saying like you're a comedian, like you were a big shot. Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, I'm clearly not
Okay.
a big. I have a niche audience on the internet. I'm not like a Bill Burr. I'm not saying that I'm Bill Burr, but if that's where we're establishing the line of what a comic is, I mean, you're just doing a great disservice to a lot of really talented comedians who haven't made it to essentially 99% of them, because it's a very hard business, and the breaks come like, it takes a long time sometimes for the breaks to come. It takes a long time. That's why I started myself, so that I could kind of control my own career. So, you know.
Yeah, I think that's the same
I'm
with
not
any
saying that
profession.
remotely. All I'm trying to get across is that describing your time in the open mic pits is not the same as being like a full-fledged comedian going through
So what
like
are the standards for you for somebody to consider themselves a full-fledged comedian?
you get paid for it.
I got paid for it. I got paid to write sketches. What's your point?
Okay. I guess I have no point, Dennis, and good luck with this.
Great. Thank you so much.
Wait, Dennis, I
Why
want
does
to ask you
Vince Vaughn
something,
isn't
and I want
one
to
of the fuck?
completely take it away from the conversation of if people think this about comedian, and even going further, like, if I'm not speaking about the Papa Gut, to give a different conversation here, because it hasn't been kind of focused on, especially as a drama channel, kind of the pivot you've made in the past couple days on how you no longer identify as a drama channel, and I would love to hear more about that.
What's your question?
The question is, what's the sudden change? Because you tweeted out that you're now grateful because of this, because more of those kind of audience are leaving you, and you've spent.
I've been trying to pivot to less YouTube drama oriented content. I've been trying to pivot to more pop culture politics.
What does that mean? You've uploaded 4 videos about James Charles in the past 2 weeks.
So here's the thing. A lot of the content that I've been posting that's pop culture politics oriented, you can go through. I've done reactions to Ben Shapiro and other thing. It just hasn't picked up yet on my channel. I haven't been able to bring in this new audience. It takes a while. So I have to still cater to the interests of my audience who's there presently.
You can cater towards them, but you're fully making content for that. So to say fuck you, like, oh, all those people are leaving anyway, that's what you built your channel off of. Agree or disagree?
That I completely understand what you're saying. That
okay.
That was the same way you could say this. When I first started doing this channel, I started doing it mostly. I was reacting to music videos and things that were completely unrelated to drama, and then I started reacting and commenting on memes and other things like that. And it evolved around the end of 2019 into talking about YouTube drama and covering internet scandals and all this stuff. And then the character started being developed as well around that time. The character play the cat in the Minecraft house thing. So the channel has gone through a lot of different phases. Even phase of me talking about internet scandals and all this stuff, it's gone through a lot of different phases.
But it's still circled back to you making videos about like James Charles. So we're back to square one.
So in my understanding of how the algorithm works, I can either kill my channel by essentially just serving my audience with none of the content that they want to see, or I can do a slow pivot, which is what I did when I was moving away from the other content I did. It took like 6, 7, 8 months for me to start getting picked up by the algorithm. So I had to try a lot of different videos, a lot of different titles and thumbnails and things. And so it's not easy to pivot to anything, especially when you have like people who consume politics or pop culture, like general American pop culture, don't want to hear about YouTube drama necessarily. And people who consume YouTube drama don't want to necessarily hear about the Kardashian drama or the Kardashian situation or that, Ted Cruz is a scumbag. So it's, it takes a minute for me to be able to position the channel and have the algorithm distribute my content to this new audience. I have to have enough of a base to get you want to get technical, I have to have enough of a base of people who are going to consume the content off the bat so I can get the view velocity I need so that the video can rank in the algorithm in a way that people find it, that it's discoverable, and it actually builds this new audience base that I'm trying to reach out to. So that's getting very technical.
Yeah, Dennis, I'm doing the exact same thing, and that's a lot of words for something that's very easy to describe.
Yeah, I mean, it's what I've learned throughout the years in my conversations, not only with people here in LA who, are specialized in this, but also, you know, I at one point I have a really good friend who's very good friends with somebody like who's an engineer at YouTube in New York. I got to ask him a bunch of questions, you know, like years ago before I even had followers. So this is like just my understanding of it. I'm not saying it's correct, but this is what I'm trying to do. And you know, I wish I could just pivot completely, but here's the thing. You know, essentially, I need to serve the audience that's there. Some of the content, so I maintain my channel.
Wait, Dennis, sorry, I really don't mean to cut you off, but if you're there to serve the audience, then why are you telling them that you're glad to get rid of them, which you tweeted yesterday?
I'm moving outside of that. So by having
Dude, answer the question. You tweeted yesterday that you're glad to get rid of them, so why are you still catering towards them?
I'm explaining to you exactly what's happening. So by having less of the people to serve who want the old content, I'm clearing up a runway for me to actually be able to place the content that I want with just the people for the people who are there solely because they want to watch my content. So if people are there solely for the drama content, then and they're leaving because of the change, and there have been a lot of people who left because they were like either apolitical or when I started talking about politics, they were more conservative. This has been happening since like March, right? It has been happening. When I started like making fun of Ted Cruz or talking about other situations, there were a lot of people like the Kyle Rittenhouse thing. A lot of people were very angry with me because I had never really been that political on my channel. But then I started talking about politics and these things, and it pissed a lot of people off, understandably. And those people left. So that ends up opening up a runway to the people who are my core audience, who actually identify with me beyond just what I do. Like talk about that, they stay, and from there I can build up this new audience base that actually aligns with the things that I'm trying to talk about now.
I totally get that. Okay, my final thing I'll say to you, and then I'll leave, is I completely understand about garnering an audience. I completely understand about different subgenres and stuff. In terms of you now building up this new audience, and you know you have this runway of old audience, why would you still, especially this week, like clickbait, like YouTube drama, like Jenna Marbles coming back when she didn't? That's gaining a new audience of the old content, which is contradicting what you just said.
One sec, you cut out because I just got a phone call. Sorry, can you say that again? My dogs are like my friend's coming here to pick up my dogs. So
okay, don't worry, I can repeat. So whenever you said about that you're now making content that's catering towards the new audience, and you know the old audience can watch videos when you put it out, why would you even this week clickbait like Jenna Marbles coming back, which is YouTube drama, which didn't happen, which is almost gaining the old audience a new version?
We're kind of going around in circles a little bit. I explained this.
We're not. You say that to everyone. Like Dennis, I've been listening for a while. You're saying that to everyone.
Okay. So explain then to me what is going on. What's your deal?
I'm now repeating this for a third fucking time.
So hold on. I'm trying to understand what you're saying. You're telling me that you're annoyed that I'm posting the same content that I said that I'm moving away from. I explained why I'm doing it, and I'm trying to understand what your point is. You want me to stop posting the content that I post, and you want me to post just the other content? That's what
I think
no. What the hell?
He's trying to understand why you're clickbaiting drama if you don't want the drama viewers.
Exactly. You said that you're trying to get new videos on the newer content, but you're not.
I am. In fact, I am. You can go back and see how often I've been posting videos, and go through and see that when there are things that I can legitimately cover, and I've been experimenting with a format, I do cover them, and I do.
Okay.
I don't understand specifically how you want me to do it. So,
is your whole point basically? Is the whole point like if you made your statement of how you're moving on? Is the whole point like stop posting about YouTube drama? Is that it?
No, the point is you just said that you like introducing new content to gain a new audience, and you know you had this runway of the previous audience with older stuff. So why would you continue clickbaiting drama, getting more of an audience of the older content that you no longer are making because that's the runway?
So just to clarify, I'm not really gaining a new audience because I'm losing subscribers. So that's
because of this.
Yeah, that's fine. So the reason why is because there are people who are there. I have over 500,000 people who still, and I look at the analytics and I know this, still want to watch that content. So I'm still serving them to the best of my abilities while on the other side covering pop culture stuff. I just covered the Will Smith apology. That's more broad pop culture stuff.
So he's trying to do a slow transition rather than a cliff breakaway.
Yeah, essentially it's a slow, gradual transition until I can build that new audience. Because if I just go jump off a cliff in that sense, it'll just kill my channel. It'll kill it. I've done it before, and it's, you know, it did to some extent. It has been part of the reason why I've been losing subscribers and viewers over the last few months. I started talking about politics and talking about topics that I didn't cover before, and naturally that's going to cause people to go and look for something else. You know, that also changing the setting. That was also something that, you know, caused a lot of people to leave. Reading off of a teleprompter, which is, you know, something that I've been wanting to do for a while. You know, typing out my scripts and reading it off a prompter. That's all things that have caused people to want to either stay or just go. And at the end of the day, look, I'm doing my best with the knowledge that I have. If you know something better than I do, feel free to recommend, and I'll try it out. I don't really know, you know, like what you specifically want me to do. If you want me to stop posting videos about a certain thing, and
Dennis, it's not that dramatic. I'm not emotionally involved with your content. I'm just answering something that you literally just said.
Yeah, and I answered that to the
barely.
Melodies,
But you are super aggressive, baby.
You just seem very invested in like me publishing content in whatever way you see that I should, or if I should
But
stop.
did you offend people when you said you weren't going to do drama anymore? Did that like offend some people? Like, oh, drama's, you know, I'm too good for drama now.
Probably did. Everyone's getting offended at everything.
Because I feel like Adam, you sound like you're offended.
I'm not offended, but it's ironic for a lot of you to be. No, let me speak. It's ironic for a lot of you to be on here being like, we're talking about the same thing over. We're going in circles. You main people that are speaking, and then someone provides a new section of conversation, and then you're like, oh well, come on. Like,
no,
all right.
I thought your question was great. I just think you were a little aggressive.
I thought your question was great too, Adam. I'm actually like talking about your question. I'm trying to figure out like, were you offended, you know, by like when he said he's not doing drama anymore? Were you like, oh, are you too good for drama, Death Noodles? Like, I'm just trying to figure you out because of your tone.
I went. It's a stupid as fuck tweet.
Also, to clarify,
I just went on Hi Noodles. I just went on your page because I was like, I follow you, and I was like, what is he talking about? He's making a change in his stuff.
I pinned it to the top of the space.
Sorry?
I pinned the tweet to the top of the space. I don't know if you can refresh it. It should show up there.
So when I just went to your channel, the only two changes that have happened on your channel is you talking about the allegations that were made to you and you apologizing. And everyone here, I hope, has seen them and knows that that's why you've been losing followers. It's not because you're changing your content. It's because you went on an insane rant on Twitter, and then we go to your normal content to see if you're still okay, and you're not okay there either.
100%. So I've been losing followers because of this, 100%. But I've been losing followers for months, since March.
Of course.
When I started losing them.
I'm not debating that. I'm just debating that you are now losing so many followers because of the behavior that you're showing. There have been several YouTubers that have switched their content several times. I mean, you tweeted about Logan Paul today, you know, like how many things did he do? And his followers are still following him. Even after the forest incident, people still stay.
That's a weird juxtaposition because if you just compare the follower account that he has on his vlog channel, which is over 20 million, versus what he has on his podcast, he's been working longer on his podcast, and he was only able to get a fraction of the followers he has on his podcast. So whenever you do a pivot like that, you're not going to appeal to the same audience, and it's harder to build
Of
it
course
back.
not. But what matters more to you? What matters more to you? Money or being genuine?
No, I'm already authentic 100%. The thing that's to me is just right currently, I just have a broader in politics because of the state of America. That's one thing that I wish I could talk about every fucking day. I even had Vosh on my podcast past week, and I'm having more political stop by on my podcast talk about. That's something that I'm very interested right now because
what is
Loki, can you mute?
now.
Thanks.
Now that's one thing. And now as far as like the pivot itself, I did 2 videos over the past month where I was like man on the street. I went and did this thing. I had 2 other ones that were planned. I had the Juggalo Fest that I'm going on Thursday night, filming on Friday, and then uploading on Saturday, I think. And then I had the other one that I was going to do at the Jake Paul event, the Jake Paul fight, but that he canceled it, so I can't do it. So the plan, essentially, I would love to do more videos where I go to events and where I get to have a story that I tell, and then I can supplement those with the irrelevant news segments, which are more broadly focused on broad pop culture and politics, this is all stuff that I've said on my podcast. You can go back, even last month, we were talking about this, all these changes that I'm making. So this isn't something new that came out of left field. Anybody who watches that, I know it's not the same like with Logan Paul. I have there's only a segment of my audience, a very small segment of my audience who's currently watching the podcast, but people who watch it know that this is where we're going. And then also the roast battles. So that the comedy aspect, the shows that I'm gonna live stream from the event space that I got. I'm essentially building a comedy club in the front of my office, and that's pretty much what my content is going to pivot towards. That's what the vision is for like the next year, And I have other stuff that I'm working on behind the scenes that I can't like talk about right now, that I can't like divulge. But in the next like 3 months, you're gonna see something. In the next 2 years, maybe you're gonna see something that I'm working on with a bunch of creators behind the scenes. That it's like there's some midterm and long-term projects that I'm developing. So there's a lot, And honestly,
okay, but then what Adam just said is not that hard to understand, right? Because he's saying if you are telling your audience, right, it doesn't matter if they follow you for who you are or because like I was following you from when you were like 100K, so you were very small back then. And I just keep following. However,
I have one question. So you watched, what content was I posting at the time? Curious.
Well, I got to you because of Kavos. So, but yeah, I rolled in watching you when you started doing drama.
Hey, I was still posting music video reactions. I was still like reacting to K-pop and reacting to other stuff. Around 200 something K is when I started doing the transition where I actually started reacting to Onision freakout videos, and those started doing super well. And then I think after that, it was Nick Avocado got in a scandal. I started covering that. And then I started doing a bunch of Trisha Paytas reactions. And then that's how things started building. But around 100K, I was mostly reacting to music videos from like even Thailand. I was reacting to music videos from Thailand and the Philippines and K-pop and like all this stuff. So I'm curious if you were actually watching me then, because you would know.
Yeah, no, I was watching you around the Onision parts. So if you say that that's 200K, then you just hit 200K. However, look, it's very simple. Your audience grows with you. The people that leave, they'll always leave. Like, look at Nicholas Diorio. I follow him as well, and he used to make these whole massive hit pieces that were really well researched. But he's streaming now, so I just watch like the clips of his streams because I just don't have time to sit there for 4 hours and watch a stream, right?
Speaking of, he wants to come on next.
When you switch over from the what's it called, the Minecraft cat, right? When you switched over from him to the guy that you are now, right, and you started just swearing up a storm constantly. I was like, what the hell is going on? Like, is he okay? And you were like, this is just me. I'm leaving that behind. And your audience, we didn't leave. We just stayed
How do you
because
know?
we liked the content and we liked you as a person.
I mean,
However, like
hold
I
up.
unfollowed you here now
Yeah.
and on YouTube because I just cannot bear what's happening right now. And I know that it's most likely because of like the new team that you have around you, you know, because it's not their money that they're messing around with, right? But you cannot sit there and say to me that the situation with Papa Gut was just one joke, because it wasn't. It wasn't just one joke. You said that he looked like a pedophile, then you called him a motherfucker here and there. That's what it is, right? But then you also had the whole "this is his van," you know, plus the tag of the FBI. Like that's taking it too far. That's like saying, like, to me, it was just bullying, right? When you have a kid in class who is being like, you know, his dad died, and you cannot get him like you can get Papa Gut on, oh, you're fat, oh, you have glasses, oh, you're bald. Instead, you went for something that is him. It's his person, right? He's this guy that's going up and trying to get other people to understand that sometimes you need to step back as a guy when it comes to a relationship and not be abusive towards your partner. And then here you are calling him out, saying that he looks like a pedophile. You didn't just say he looked like a pedophile. You showed a free candy car, you know, a white van. You were literally implying that he is a pedophile. He is that thing that he hates so much. And I don't like, previously, I don't think you would have gone this far. I don't think you would have doubled down this much. But you went too far, and it's okay to admit to that. It's okay to say, "Oh, yo, I think I went too far." You shouldn't have people like Stephen Marcus saying, "Yeah, no, but he jumped on the bomb." Yeah, because it's your body jumping on the bomb. It's not him. You
Okay.
understand?
Hold up. So, yeah, 100%. I'm doing this. I never said that I didn't do it. Like I said earlier, I'm not the one who defines the line. You're defining your line
No.
where other people have
No,
said
but
that.
what you did do
Are,
was kept saying like, yeah, we're
so,
like, I'm like Stephen Colbert, and that's just how I play things. It's a comedian thing. It's not a comedian thing. Plus, Stephen Colbert has 17 writers. You have Stephen.
So hold up.
Like,
You've talked for a bunch of minutes. We all listened to you. So let me just get in my word for a little bit. 1 second.
go for it.
Stephen doesn't write for me. Stephen is just a co-host on my podcast. He's also a very good friend. You know, he also knows a lot of other people, you know, in LA that we know and all this other stuff. So he's a host on my podcast. He's a very good friend. So I write the jokes myself. Eventually, maybe I'll hire writers, but I'm writing everything myself. I'm just now starting to find somebody to edit the stuff for me. So I've been editing and filming, doing all this stuff. At the end of the day, I understand what you're saying. I don't define the line. I walk to it. And if somebody sees a line, where you see a line, somebody will see it at a different place. And you know, I understand everything you're saying. I don't really know what it is you want from me, but I understand what you're saying.
I want you to be accountable for what you did. Like, I don't. For
How?
me, you know, you don't. There's no thing like lines. I listen to Tommy C on a daily basis, right?
Oh,
I know
Yeah.
you know Tommy C. I listen to him on a daily basis. That guy makes racist jokes, all the jokes, because he's like Howard Stern type of stuff, right?
Not Howard
But
Stern.
what
Howard
you
Stern is
but
Howard.
what you're doing, what
Stern.
Tommy doesn't
Howard
do,
Stern.
right? Or what Howard Stern doesn't do
That's
is
the first thing you
keep
have to
pushing
establish.
like this and still not be funny. Because it wasn't a
Wait,
funny
real
joke.
quick,
It's okay to say
real quick.
sorry.
Hello, Papa Gut's in the chat now, and he's ready to join. I believe he's home now.
Okay, I'm going through. Let me see.
is he in the chat?
I can step down.
Yeah. All right.
Oh,
Real
there
quick,
he
I
is.
just want to say leave Steven alone. He's a sweetie.
I just
I think he's really, but
added.
if he's wrong, he's wrong.
I just added him. Let's see. Let me see. Where'd he go?
He was just laughing.
All right, just tried to add him again. I don't know if he's got to change something or what it is.
Oh, there he is. It's Papa Gut.
I mean, I see he's here listening. I keep inviting him to speak. I don't know if he has to accept it on his end, but I guess
he did make a tweet saying that he wasn't going to join. You can join him on his live.
Okay, well, we've done that before. If that's what he wants to do, that's fine. We'll go live, I guess, later this week or something. We'll figure something out.
Oh, Narco's here.
All right. So what else we got?
I know Nick Diorio said that he wanted to go on, or someone just sent me something saying he wanted to go on.
he can replace my spot. That's no problem.
Okay. What's good?
Hello.
What's up?
How's my audio?
It's fine.
Perfect. I don't think we've actually spoken before, in like the full year that we've had like an issue. It's weird. I just kind of want.
Hold up. So
sure.
Understand what issue do you think we have? Because I think you're kind of assuming.
Wait, you like me?
I honestly, I don't know you, so how can I form an opinion about you?
I don't know.
It's kind of weird.
Pretty uptight about it a lot, so I don't know.
So what leads you to that conclusion?
Probably like the 4 tweets about the Michelin Man that you didn't know it was like made out of tires, so you thought it was soft.
When you meme stuff, you according to your interpretation, you are doing it because you're tight with a person.
Yeah, I typically don't like a lot of the people I make videos on. That's why I say mean things to them online.
All right. Well, I guess we differ in that sense.
Sure. I guess I kind of just wanted to ask you if you're like, are you self-aware in this? Do you kind of understand why people think you're a little crazy?
Look, I've been talking to people for, I don't even know how long this has been going, but, I'm listening.
I almost feel bad for you because a lot of these
whether or not people
have been insane.
Crazy, like you mean like mental institution
No,
crazy?
No,
you mean
no,
like
no, but people just think that you're
crazy,
like kind of off your rocker recently.
Beat? Like how crazy? Like what do you mean?
I mean, like just off your rocker recently, not like fucking put this guy in a cage. He's gonna hurt somebody. Crazy.
Okay. What makes you think I'm off my rocker?
Because I feel like we've been looping for like the past year or so. I feel like the same critiques that I've made in I don't know, like fucking December of 2020 was that, are like the same ones that you're hearing now. Like it's the same thing.
What do you think? Like I mean, I pretty much outlined everything I did before you even made, I think, your videos. I don't remember specifically when you published them, but I remember end of 2019 was before a lot of people on commentary started making videos. I did an interview
with John
where I
Swan,
literally
right?
talked about the exact same things.
Oh, you're talking about the Vulture one, right?
So this actually circles back to a point that was made hours ago, which is, to what extent do people want to accept what I do or place what they want it to be on it?
Okay, yeah, like, but Dennis, I watched. I'm the only one on the call who's listened to your Vulture interview. I'm the only one here who has.
Okay.
Have you ever seen my videos on you?
No, actually I haven't.
Okay, because I covered this in the second one. I have a quote from the guy that you talked to, from the I think his name is Jesse David Fox.
Yeah.
Okay.
So explain. Talk about it.
All right. So this is the quote that he said. It's not always clear which part is real and which part is a joke. And even what the joke even is sometimes, as much as he says it's just a character, I don't know if I always believe him. He clearly gets something out of reporting in this world. And even after talking to Dennis, my producers and I were unsure which parts were real and which parts weren't. So you're saying that this is like the biggest comedy podcast. I heard you say that earlier. And even they don't understand your gimmick. So, I mean, at what point do you kind of go insanity?
I mean, that's fair to say about Colbert too. People thought Colbert was 100% real when he was doing his shit.
Yeah, but there are people who also think Colbert is like funny.
You're getting right now. You're getting like a summary of what he said. And if you go through, he actually asks me that. He asks me, he said, "Are
Yeah,
you
but this
serious?
is his
Are you not?"
post-interview summary.
Exactly.
So he doesn't
of
believe
course,
you.
he's teasing his interview with that summary, right? Now, I mean, the full context of everything I explained isn't presented there because otherwise you wouldn't listen to the podcast. But I explain it very clearly from A to Z how I arrived at the concept of the channel, how it evolved, and what is real and what isn't. And that's fine that was his conclusion. That seems to be the conclusion that a lot of people arrive at. That's totally fine. The intention is still the same. Now,
but it's not just
it
a
gets
lot of
to a
people
point.
that arrive there, Dennis.
Now,
Like
it
there are
gets to
people
a
who
point
are like
whether
ontologically like they're like opposed to each other. If I'm agreeing
it
with
gets
somebody
to
on
a
the
point.
H3H3 subreddit and Adam McIntyre and Cat 10 Barge, people who are completely different than me that I disagree with almost everything else they say, there's like a large sample size of people who have this issue with you.
Like, what do you want me to do?
I want you to realize that you're the problem, not everyone else around you.
Oh, comic copy.
So when did I say that everybody else was a problem? I mean, then I'm the problem.
That's what
fine.
the hope on this
Problem.
stream is. It's like, oh, everyone just doesn't get my jokes. You've been doing the same bit since
totally
2020.
fine.
If the joke was that everybody else is stupid and I'm the funniest comedian that's ever lived, you know what? Fuck it, dude. Let's start a frenemies and I'll hand you an award right now. I think we'd be great together. But I don't think that's true.
I never said I was the funniest comedian that's ever lived. All I did was say that I wanted to tell jokes every day and that the news made it easy because there's news happening all the time. So here's the thing.
And you talk about news, but real news.
I've explained what my intentions are. Like I said earlier, I created a Dilbert sketch. If people want a Dilbert comic strip, if people want to see it as Hemingway and expect it to be Hemingway, then that's on them. That's my problem for creating the Dilbert comic strip and only being talented enough to create a Dilbert comic strip. I wish I was Hemingway or F. Scott Fitzgerald, but I'm not. So this is what I'm giving people, and this is what it is. I mean, people are legitimately asking me to be something that I'm not. This is my authentic self, my ideas, and I don't know how else to be something else.
All right. Well, we're not going to agree on this one. Want to move on to the next point?
Hold on one second. Here's the thing. If you don't like what he does or what he says, you can block him, mute him, don't watch him, and then stop complaining about it.
Preach. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yes and no. Sometimes he says things that are way too inflammatory. Like that still reaches
I
out
don't care if things
after
are
the block.
inflammatory. I don't agree with everyone who got on the stream tonight and said that your joke was too mean. I don't think that you can condemn him for calling Papa Gut somebody who looks like a pedophile just based off of that one comment. I totally disagree with the allegedly Angelo guy. I think that he sounds the way that Def Noodles thinks Papa Gut looks. So I'm not condemning Dennis for that. I'm not condemning Dennis for any edgy jokes. My problem with Dennis is that the joke, quote unquote, that he made isn't just, oh, Papa Gut looks like a pedophile. I'll read it to you. Motherfucker got famous on TikTok for, quote unquote, joking about fucking 14-year-old girls. Then he got offended that
Did he though?
about him.
So
the
here,
implication
is that how he got famous?
is that he was serious and wanted to fuck children.
So here's the thing.
And then tag the FBI.
We covered this before, but I'm happy to walk through it again.
Sure.
So, is fucking children funny to you?
Could be in certain circumstances of a joke. Absolutely.
Okay, so talking about a grown man from the point of view of a grown man fucking a 14-year-old child is objectively funny to you. That's
depends on the
funny.
Context of the joke. Absolutely.
So tell me a context where it would be funny.
I think that it's funny that you made a joke about Papa Gut fucking children because it makes you look like an idiot.
Okay, so here's the thing. First off, I didn't say he fucks children. I said
no. You said that he was quote unquote joking. The implication is that he wasn't joking when he made a comment about fucking a 14-year-old girl.
So his joke. We're talking about the quote unquote joke part, which is what you brought out.
Yes, that's my
You're clearly not getting it, dude.
His joke was, if she bleeds, she breeds. Shout out to Andres Lopez for the life tip or some shit like that.
And your implication is that he wasn't joking about that he actually wants to fuck children if they bleed.
Okay, so essentially the joke is, thank you for teaching me that I should fuck children, Andres Lopez. So now my question to you is, objectively, is fucking children funny to you from that point of view?
I mean, I don't think Papa Gut's a fucking comedian. But my point is,
No,
you're saying that statement that you were describing to me.
Is it objectively funny to fuck children?
Wait, I'm so
A
confused.
14-year-old girl
Wait, what does
for
it matter
a guy?
if a joke is funny? Is your like
No.
ethics on whether
I'm
you
just
can make
asking.
it, whether the joke is funny or not?
Yeah, I'm trying to understand. To you, is it objectively funny to fuck for a grown man? Imagine Papa Gut to fuck a 14-year-old girl. Is it objectively funny to you?
No, I don't like going to sleep at night thinking of Papa Gut having sex with a child. Is that your thing?
Okay. So that's why I put it in quotes, because I don't think it's funny. I don't think it's a joke to say that.
So why didn't you put fucking a 14-year-old girl in quotes? Why did you put joking in quotes? Because the obvious implication is that he wasn't being serious when he said he was joking. You're calling him out for joking.
Saying that somebody looks like a pedophile is it's called a.
I don't care about the looks like a pedophile part. I think that joke's fine. I care about you with the implication that Papa Gut actually wanted to fuck kids.
You're literally talking in circles, dude.
Yeah, because he's not answering the question. That's how the fucking circle goes.
We did get to a point where he said he doesn't think it's funny. Now, so I'm trying to understand
jokes literally
where we're going.
Jokes aren't like created whether someone thinks they're funny. There are going to be people who find every single joke not funny.
Objectively, you would laugh at every single joke like that if somebody told it from that point of view of a grown man fucking a 14-year-old girl. If it's a different one, if it's like written differently, you would objectively find one that's actually funny.
We're not having a conversation whether Papa Gut's
who looks
funny.
like Papa Gut fucking a
like,
children.
what is your point, Nick? What is your point?
My point is he accused Papa Gut of being a pedophile because he was mad that Papa Gut was making videos on him. It's pretty fucking obvious.
How is that an accusation when you yourself said you don't think it's a joke for him to say that he's fucking a 14-year-old girl?
What are you talking about? You're putting parentheses around joking. The obvious implication that everyone is drawing is that you're saying he was serious about wanting to fuck kids. And when people are saying this to you multiple days in a row, you've yet to correct a single person on it. So, I mean, like, I'm not the only person who came to this conclusion.
So wait, you came to the conclusion that he was fucking girls?
No, I came to the conclusion that you're saying he wasn't actually joking and he actually wanted to fuck girls.
Where in my tweet did it say that?
Motherfucker got famous on TikTok for quote-unquote joking about fucking 14-year-old girls. The part that you quoted is joking.
I explained my logic behind it, and you supported it by saying that you don't think it's a joke.
Yeah,
so
I
what's
think
your
that.
point?
Wait, I said I don't think it's funny. I didn't say I don't think it's a joke.
Okay, so I guess we kind of agree. We kind of have somewhat of an agreement.
This is objectively bad. Like, and I know that you fucked up multiple pedophile stories.
You don't sound like you know what you're talking about.
Okay, thank you very much. But can we get the peanut gallery to stop? So I don't understand how you're also categorizing.
Can you guys hear me?
Not like a spite-driven move.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
So you were complaining previously on this stream.
Can people hear me?
Yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes.
My God.
Can you still hear me right now or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Can you still? I'm just testing my microphone. You hear me still? Good. I'm testing.
Yeah.
Can you still? Okay. Loud and
We hear you, Papa Gut.
It works great.
Cool. Okay. So what's happening in here? What are we doing? Like what's up?
We're in the middle of talking about the tweet.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Is that where you want to start, or maybe the two of us should start like fresh here, Def? Like, where do you want to start here?
I don't know. You just dropped in. What do you want to talk about?
Everybody's silent when this comes in.
What do we want to talk about, Def? Probably that you've been once again trying to slander me on social media as a way to silence me rather than engage intelligently in what we've been talking about.
Okay, so first off, let's break that down. How have I slandered you?
By heavily insinuating that I'm a pedophile.
How was that insinuation made?
Constantly, through constant harassing tweets insinuating that I look like a pedophile. That quote tweeting, like, what were you saying, that you think I got famous on TikTok for quote unquote making jokes about children. Saying that, I'm not done talking. I'm not done talking. So talking about how you're going to go live on the street by asking them if I'm a pedophile. And then, of course, you're going to edit it up so that you're only going to cherry pick the people who say, oh, sure, and then make a slanderous video about me. You've been obsessed with me for no reason other than I can assume is that you saw that Ethan Klein said something nice about me,
and you've been on a meltdown since that's like your guy. I don't know why.
What the hell are you talking about?
You're the one who re-engaged this entire thing because somebody said Papa Gut owns you.
Hold up.
And you decided to like come out here saying that you created my entire career, despite the fact that I blew up on like TikTok through my own efforts, and now it's spiraled out of control to a point where you're mocking me getting emotional for expressing a situation where somebody told me about their violent rape. So like this whole angle where like what's going on? You've already outed yourself for not caring about assault survivors. So like where are we right now with this like ridiculous like slanderous fucking campaign? That's pathetic.
Hold up. There's a lot to unpack here. First off,
sure.
I had no idea that Ethan even complimented. Congratulations. I mean, what?
Cool. All right, let's move on. I don't really want to play the Let's Be Friends game. We tried this before and you spit on it. So
waiting for like that's kind of weird. That's anyway. Congratulations on that. I don't know why you would think that's like
because you're obsessed with Ethan. That's your entire moral focus is what people think about you online and what Ethan Klein thinks about you. If you actually had a moral center, you wouldn't be going through this ridiculous disinformation campaign about me.
So wait, I gotta understand what your thing with Ethan is, because that's like really.
I know that you're trying to change the whole frame to make it seem like I'm obsessed with Ethan, but we all know that you're very much obsessed with what he says.
Why did you even bring him up?
Because I can't explain any other reason for you to have an absolute unhinged meltdown for a week obsessing about me as a content creator.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
When you run your business, do you base your business decisions on someone else?
No, because I'm not a bad businessman.
Okay, so there's your answer.
That's an answer for
why
me.
would you assume that I'm basing
so
my business?
So why did you decide to engage in this weird 1 week long slander campaign against me? Completely
Okay, so let's go
unprompted?
back.
Sure.
Let's see. How many videos have you made about me in the last 7 months?
In total, I counted today. I made 21 videos about you. Overall, these videos we're not moving past the point. Overall, these videos consist of you first of the time trying to actively slander me, as well as a couple of ones in defense of you, and then again with this situation of you slandering me. You talking about how I made a lot of videos when you consistently post on Twitter about me. Just because you put it on Twitter and don't make it a YouTube video doesn't mean you're not making a response to me. This is a really, really shallow and pathetic attempt to try to make it seem like I'm obsessed with you when you were the one re-engaging this whole thing. And you have, for a week, been obsessed and hyper-focused on trying to destroy my credibility, just like you did the first time. The only difference is nobody thinks that you're serious. Nobody takes you seriously enough for it to have any real impact. And now you're doubling back because there's nothing else for you to do. Because nobody agrees with you. Your platform is going away because you're unjustifiably targeting me and invalidating sexual assault survivors. And now you realize you fucked up because the act of you pretending to care about people has gone away. That's what's happening right now.
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack
there.
Yeah,
you keep saying that, so unpack it.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
So, Dennis, you're saying, like, it was a joke. Like, I've been on here for, 5 hours now. So you're saying, like, it was a joke and everything. And let's say, Papa Gut has expressed that these things actually hurt him, like, A, B, and C. So even though you thought it was a joke or whatever,
I honestly don't. I respect you and everything for coming in here. I don't want to run defense to try to make Dennis seem as charitable as possible. If we deter from the conversation of me pushing him on his bullshit, it's going to make him come out in a way that he feels.
Wait, is that an honest conversation?
My question. Let me finish. Can I finish my question?
Listen, we're in a one-on-one. I don't want anybody fielding for me. I don't want anybody fielding for Dennis. This is a way to. I would really like to just kind of get back to the point with myself and Dennis. This is one of the reasons why I didn't want to do this because I kind of knew that something like this was going to happen. It's me and Dennis.
Okay.
So I want to stick to the
no. Okay. Okay. I was just saying, would Dennis consider apologizing? Jeez. All right, I'm done.
That's how it would have started.
Wishes she was raped.
I don't know what that's about, but I want to get. So where were we? What is a lot to unpack? Let's keep on the point.
Okay. So first off, it seems like you're very heated. Maybe take a.
This is what it's like when somebody is just blunt with you. That's not. I'm a little heated, I suppose. I'm being blunt and direct. I'm not being charitable like I was in the last conversation. Please stop trying to prime your audience to make it seem like I'm having an unhinged emotional reaction, despite the fact that for the past week, that was what you were doing. Please stay on the point and stop trying to play this bullshit game with me. because it's very disingenuous, it's very shallow, and everybody's gonna see right through it. So let's stick to the point about what's been going on.
Okay. Are you gonna let me talk though? Okay. So take a drink.
You're continuing
relax.
to do it, but okay.
Okay. All right. So there's a lot that was just said. Honestly, we've diverted away from it. My friend just brought my dogs back, so just re-enlighten me. What do you want me to talk about right now?
Well, Dennis, you're the one that seems like you want to make some kind of, I guess, apology. I was told that you wanted me to pop in here, so I wanted to see what you had to say.
Well, I wanted to talk about it because there's clearly been some kind of, misunderstanding.
Sure,
right?
What's the misunderstanding?
So you said you made 21 videos about me in the last few months.
Yeah, in the last initial engagement, so for about a year. Sure.
So for the last 7 months, I guess, would you say that you've been, as charitable as possible with the way that you've responded to my statements?
100%. Yeah, I've been as contextually accurate as possible on every single time I've covered you.
In the video, the very first video where you reacted to, where you took sides with Keemstar about the...
I didn't take sides with Keemstar. I took sides with a child that was dying of cancer that you rolled over because you hate Keemstar so much.
Here's the thing.
You wanted to reframe this narrative. I don't really particularly care for Keemstar, but there's times where he gets it right. And again, your refusal to acknowledge that at the expense of a young girl's dying wish is pathetic. I really don't want to talk about that scenario because it's a fucking disrespect to that young girl who passed away. But if you really want to talk about this, sure, we can. It has nothing to do with Keemstar. I don't side with Keemstar. Every single time I engage with Keemstar in a conversation, it is in disagreement of a topic. So this whole idea of you trying to attach me to him, lazily walk past the point, is very disingenuous.
Okay, so at some point I have to be able to conclude a thought. Otherwise, it's going to be very hard conversation. Okay, 21 videos. The first video that you ever made about me, you said you were charitable about me in my coverage. So I'm going to the very first video because that's something I noticed because it was something that somebody sent to me. It was my introduction to you, right?
Sure.
So in that scenario, did you ever reach out to Sniper Wolf to get her side of the story?
No, everything was pretty clear. The mother released all the documents. It was like 3 days of her stalling.
Cool.
Sure.
Well, I did. I spoke to her. I spoke to her. I got her side of the story. I saw what was happening. She told me exactly why having issues with getting in touch with a girl, and she eventually got in touch with the girl.
Yeah, well, she had issues because she was blocked for ignoring her and then tried to double back on it.
Let me just finish. One of your major criticisms in that video of me was that I demonetized my video and that I should have just taken the money and donated
No, that's not my. That wasn't my criticism of that. Wasn't my criticism of your video. That wasn't my criticism of your video. We're not. You can finish after. That's not your criticism because you're trying to get away with bullshit. My criticism was that you can move on after I make the point. My criticism wasn't that you demonetized the video. My criticism was that you made sure you told everybody you demonetized the video to try to make it seem like you were more morally and right, like virtuous and righteous. If I remember correctly. Okay. I don't care if you monetize it or demonetize it. That doesn't matter.
So
if I even
here's the
made
thing,
that
though.
criticism.
Let me go back. Let me just circle back to that because it's very important that you made that criticism. Because in your criticism, you said that I should have just monetized the video. You said that you yourself would have taken money in that situation, which is totally fine. Do your thing. Yeah. However, you never acknowledged that I had a fundraiser next to the video that I raised, I think, about $1,500, which is way more than I could have made in that video. Also, at one point, you open her GoFundMe, and it pops up on your screen that I'm the top donation on her GoFundMe, which I donated. I donated money to her before I even made the video, and you close it really quickly as soon as you see my name. So that was one thing that
I just doubt that's correct. It sounds like you're desperately trying to reframe this.
Go back to
this is what you tend to do: is you disingenuously reframe things. If I remember correctly to this situation,
this is going to be impossible to talk if you're talking.
Okay, continue, Dennis, and then I'll respond. Go ahead.
Okay. So you did that. That was my first impression of you. Okay, that was my first impression of you. You did that. You can go back. People can go back right now to the video and watch it. And watch it. It's on video.
You should watch that video.
Okay.
But that's not a true framing of what happened.
So it comes up. I'm the top donation.
Great.
You close it real quick, and you never acknowledged it. That I actually donated, and you continue your point that I'm virtue signaling, that that I actually don't care about the situation. That here I am. I actually talked to the person who was the center of the story. I got her side. You, on the other hand, never got her side. You took Keemstar. In fact, the title of your video is Keemstar was right.
Yes, because he was right.
That's the title of your video.
So
yeah. So you took Keemstar's side, and that's why I framed it like that. That's why I said, "Oh, you took Keemstar's," because your title is literally Keemstar was right. So you told me that you were charitable to me in my coverage. So I want to know from you, why did you not mention that I raised $1,500 for cancer charities, and that I also donated $500, and it popped up on your screen and you closed it? And why did you not acknowledge that in your video and keep painting me as a person who was just trying to virtue signal?
Okay. So first and foremost, I hadn't watched it in a while. I guarantee you that's not the framing of the situation. This whole idea that I would try to hide that you donated, absolutely not. I don't remember the specifics. I know that you had a donation tab at the right, but a lot of content creators play this game where they say, I'm going to demonetize my video and do a charity. It's not a bad thing. And then I talked about how it would be more effective, generally speaking, to leave your monetization on and then donate that money. I don't absolutely at all remember shitting on you for that. I focused very heavily on the story. I focused very heavily. I focused very heavily on the story. I guarantee you, I talked about the fundraiser. So I don't really know, like, what you're reframing something. It just didn't happen the way that you're saying it, and now you're trying to assert that as a way to shoot my credibility down because you don't want to talk about what's going on currently.
People can go back and be the judge of that. I'm taking this step by step. You want to talk about how we got to this point? You have to
but it'd be nice if you were honest about your framing of the situation.
You can't just paint. The video's there.
Yes,
people can
watch the video because I know that I didn't do what you're saying that I did.
Exactly. So what you're telling me is that then you didn't do the research necessary to even see that I was a top donation, which shows up on the screen.
If it shows on the screen, I showed it in my video. Then how are you trying to say that I hit it? I just this doesn't make any sense.
You framed me as a person, dishonest person who was just seeking to virtue signal.
I framed you as a person.
And yet you didn't.
I framed you as somebody who was so obsessed with Keemstar and being disagreeable with him that you completely ignored the context of the situation of this mother continuously trying to reach out after Sniper Wolf agreed that they would have like a little one-on-one FaceTime type of a thing for multiple days, making up multiple excuses, even though she was out to eat and all this other nonsense. And then once she was blocked by the mother, then all of a sudden Keemstar talked about it, and that's when Sniper Wolf did the right thing.
You didn't talk to
you didn't talk to her. Need to talk. I don't need to know those because the mother released all of her information. We saw all the DMs. I don't need to talk to the person who's doing the bad thing that's going to be reframing it in a way that makes it seem like she did the right thing. I don't. That's called a biased source. You talk to a biased source. I looked at it, the objective facts of the DMs, the times between the DMs, all the excuses Sniper Wolf made. That's what I look at. I don't need to go to the source. That's insane that I would have to go to the liar, Sniper Wolf, in this situation to get the real information.
So you're telling me that when you cover a story, you don't try to get all sides.
Dennis,
of it.
I'm telling you that all the information we needed was available, and Sniper Wolf doesn't need to be asked about the situation to know the objective truth of her dodging the situation based on the leaks.
Okay.
The leaks. So if the DMs are fake, then you got me. But if they're not fake, which nobody has said, I have the information I need.
Do you consider yourself an unbiased person?
I am as unbiased as a person I think can be.
Okay. And now, however, you just said that you didn't want to get somebody's side of the story.
You're harping on this point. The objective truth was out there with the DMs. We don't need to get her side of the story other than a reframing from her perspective to make her look as good as possible. We should move on to the next point because we're just going to go circular. We're just going to go circular on this. I disagree. I have the objective. I already have the DMs. That's the truth. Let's move on to the next topic because you're trying to harp on this so that you don't have to talk about how you validated sexual assault survivors. So let's move forward.
I can talk about it all you want. You don't want to admit that you're saying that you're unbiased. However, you literally just admitted that you don't want to get all sides of the story. You also said that you were charitable to me. However, you never mentioned the fact that I essentially raised $2,000 for children with cancer in that video.
Can we move on to the next point?
Yeah.
Let's move on to the next point.
You said, okay, next point. And then there was the whole, EB family.
Yeah, the EB family, when they
Sorry,
leveraged a fake, like they tried to call a 17-year-old boy a rapist, a predator, and pedophile for trolling a girl inappropriately, of course, but they had a disproportionate response and tried to deplatform him because he made a mistake. So you want to talk about that, how that you avoided that whole part? I tried to have a conversation with you about like the potential racist undertones of what the family was doing, the fact that they were intentionally over-maturing him because they intentionally misrepresented his age in order to overprescribe punishment. You know, we had that conversation. Doesn't mean they are racist, but there were a lot of racist undertones because I actually watched both of their full videos, which is something that I noticed a lot of commentary content creators don't really do, right? So that's what happened next, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened next. That was the video that you made your commentary about. I made my response. You made a response, and then we had the discussion.
So you didn't just respond. You tried to slander me by calling like an incel. You tried to assert that I think it was funny that I like said like a bunch of other shit, and then you desperately apologized.
So let's take a moment right now, and let's see. How is calling you an incel slanderous?
Yes. You were calling me an incel. You suggested that I think it's funny when like young girls get hurt. Like you were saying a lot of like fucked up shit.
How is calling you an incel
so Dennis,
slanderous?
I talked about this. What you do in your videos is you prime your. A lot of people do this in general, but you prime your.
Okay, let's
cool.
define
what you do is that you prime your audience.
Wait, don't change the subject. Don't change the subject.
Okay, Dennis.
No,
let's see. Disingenuous framing. Is that better? I will just drop the word slanderous. I don't feel like going on to this like side talk conversation because I know you're trying to define.
We should define what slander
okay,
is.
Dennis. So anyway, you had a very.
Hold on, dude. Let me say something, please, for the love of God. Yeah. You. Let's define what slander is because you've actually been titling some of your videos as slanderous. Yeah. So define what slander is to you, and maybe we'll find a definition where we can. I'll ask Alexa over here.
Okay, so slanderous, false and malicious, right? So your statements about me were objectively false, and we can only assume malicious based on your just the way that you operate because you're a very dishonest content creator. So yeah,
there's more to slander than just false and malicious.
That's just what came up when I googled the dictionary definition.
The action or crime of making a false spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation. So tell me, how is being called an incel damaging to your reputation?
So Dennis,
how has it damaged your reputation?
Basically, at this point, it didn't because I'm not a small content creator. I'm very articulate, know how to defend myself. But you could have rolled over anybody else, like I was saying. Saying before. I'm going to answer it.
The person's reputation.
So, like I was saying before, right? You engage, and a lot of people do this, but you engage in very dishonest priming of your audience.
So don't change.
We're doing it again. I'm definitely like explaining my point about how this would be considered slanderous. You want to think that's a bit over prescription of a thing? Sure, fine. But you have dishonest framing to try to prime your audience against you, right? So again, what I was trying to say is the way that you title your videos is in a way where it's like Papa Gut's an incel. Papa Gut doesn't care about this, that, and the other thing. Suggesting that I think it's funny when like little girls get hurt. This is like when you in the first situation. Okay, I'm still going. So that you were trying to get your audience to think I was some kind of like woman-hating incel right off the bat that like people don't like and all this other stuff because you didn't want to like actually engage with what I was saying. And I was trying to have a nuanced discussion about a topic, right? This is why you came into the live saying, well, pretending to apologize because later on you just recently admitted it was all a joke just to call me an incel, more like a weirdo. This is where we're starting because you already you pretended to apologize, but you already admitted that was disingenuous, right?
Okay. I get you want to get a lot off your chest, but this is gonna be. You gotta have some kind of conversation, otherwise it's just gonna be you yelling at me, like trying to interrupt it. Anyway, so just explain to me how calling someone an incel is a slanderous claim.
So, like I was saying before, again, Dennis, if you think that the term slander is too loaded, I said about 4 times now. We can down.
No, don't redefine the conversation. Don't redefine the conversation. Just answer the
Dennis,
question.
I will retract in this instance the word slander, but I will still hold to the fact that you had a very dishonest framing to try to pin me out as somebody who just instantaneously hates women and like can't have sex. I guess is some kind of a virtuous win, right?
All right. So here we go.
Okay,
All right. Let's take a pause. So, few points. You admitted to not doing research.
I never admitted to that at all.
You admitted to not doing research or seeing that I had made all the donations. You admitted that you didn't reach out to Sniper Wolf and that you don't like to get both sides of the story. And now you just admitted to over-sensationalizing something and then immediately taking it back. It's not slander. So those are 3 things.
Yeah, but all those are effectively lies.
Now,
everyone's watching, so they know that you have.
Now, please elaborate. please elaborate. How was it dishonest having incel in my title?
So Dennis, it's more than just incel, right? It's the fact that you called me like an incel. You framed me as some kind of a woman hater, so you can dismiss my point. You went on like a whole tirade about like being fat, ugly, blah blah blah. It's a lot of different. Dennis, you apologized for this. I don't know why you're acting like this is coming out of left field.
Where did I say that? Where did I say that?
In your videos, Dennis. This was your audience agreed that you had a very disingenuous framing.
Let's get it right. I didn't make 21 videos on you like you did on me. I made
one
video.
You like to use Twitter because you don't want to attach a YouTube video for it because for some reason you think that just because it's on Twitter doesn't mean it's not a response.
Don't make excuses. Just
own up to the fact that proper framing of the situation because you are framing it incorrectly.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. It's fine. You can say that, but the truth is the truth.
I know
made
the
one
truth
video
is the truth.
I'm not gonna make it seem like it was.
You just deleted like 15 tweets about calling me a pedophile, and you're acting like my number of videos was like overbearing. I call you out on other things as well, but this was an elongated situation originally because you kept trying to weigh your audience against me until you couldn't get away with it, and you were forced to apologize on stream. Look, did that happen? Did you apologize to me on stream?
For anybody who's been here for the 5 hours, they've heard me say a whole bunch of stuff.
I don't care about what was said when I wasn't here. It's irrelevant.
Hey, all right. Fine. I think that what people were saying before you joined was relevant, but it's fine if you want to discount it. That's up to you. Anyway, going back to the conversation, you said it was dishonest, or I just want to get full clarity on that.
Yeah.
Because you walked back the slander stuff, so please tell me, describe how that was dishonest.
Dennis, I've described it. I know that like you're really trying to like lay the point to get to where we need to go, which was you like insinuating heavily that I was a pedophile. I already made this point. You can disagree, but I don't feel like going into a circular thing. You being dishonest, and then you apologized for it in the live conversation. So I don't really have to do anything because within the first minute you're like, I'm sorry. Then you made a video about how my career, I'm quitting YouTube, and it was another apology to me. Like, I don't really have to do this for this situation because you apologized for doing the wrong thing, which means that you admit, even if it was a dishonest apology, that you did these things, right? You admitted you did these things. You admitted you were wrong in that entire scenario. So what do I have to prove to the people who don't know what's going on? Because all you are doing is you're catering and pandering to people who are not going to sit through, and I understand why, a very elongated interaction. But the reality is there's a reason you apologize. And while it may not be because you're genuine and actually are apologetic, which you admitted recently, it's because your audience shit on you so hard and you lost so much credibility that you've been steamrolling out of control for the past 8 months or whatever since our interaction has happened.
Sure. Are you done? Okay. So just to, I guess, keep moving forward, since you want to get to the part where we've been discussing for the last 4 hours.
Wait, you want to skip past the racism part where you decided to boil down 2 minutes to just a black person, took away his entire autonomy because he decided to, as a joke, have fun with Belle Delphine and dress up like Donkey Kong, and you pretended he was some kind of like he was being manipulated by the evil white girl about that. And so I called you out because you didn't even name him in the title. You boiled him down to a black person with no agency or autonomy, because that's a really weird one to move past, especially since when we tried to have our first conversation, you moved past the entire race argument when I was trying to talk about the Killick situation. You don't want to talk about that one?
So,
you want to move past that one?
We can have this conversation 100%. We can have this conversation. It was, in fact, one of the almost 20-something videos you made about me. So here's the thing. It's a clickbait title. In the video itself, anybody who watches the content will see that I don't even mention that.
Yes, you do.
Anybody who sits and watches the content notices that I don't mention it. It was a clickbait title.
You mentioned
so
it. I watched
anybody
the video.
Who follows me, anybody who actually follows me sees that not only do I actively speak against racism and use my platform for that, but I also platform people from all different backgrounds. Cool. People on my podcast come from all different backgrounds.
Wow, we're getting into the I have a black friend territory, which is probably not a great one. I could say I have black friends too, guys. I can't be racist. Are you kidding me? Do you know how in-depth and nuanced race issues are? Having a black friend doesn't mean you can't be racist. You talked about the situation. You explicitly talk about how Belle Delphine forced him to do this thing because Too Bad is a black guy that can't make up his own decisions. You robbed him of his own agency as a person, boiled him down to his identity just so that you can make clickbait about how a black person was being oppressed when he wasn't. You talked about it in the video. I watched it.
Look, the fact that's immediately what you jump to says a lot about you.
It's not immediately. It's based off of like a conversation we've been having. I know you as a person.
I was talking more about having people from different backgrounds. I have Tiana, who is not black. She's from, she's Latina like me. Okay? There are people from all different backgrounds that I invite on my show, that I try to talk to. But if that's immediately what you wanted to go to,
well, Dennis, because you just lied to people. You just lied to people and said you didn't talk about Too Mad. You talked about it in the video. I watched the video. Are you trying to gaslight me or yourself at this point?
Look, I talked about the thing in the video. I didn't talk about it in the terms.
Talk about it.
I didn't talk about it in the terms that you're framing it as. Yeah. That's finally, look, you're the bastion of honesty, but you're presenting it in an absolutely dishonest way. The title was clickbait. It was pure clickbait. A lot of people talked about it. You weren't the only one, okay? But in the video itself, I don't repeat that same statement. I say his name. I say Too Mad.
Yeah.
So
and then I'm trying to understand. Forced into doing this thing, and that it was a bad look for him in some capacity.
I never said that in the video. Never said that in the video. So that's just in the title because it's meant to be clickbait. That was it. Was it the best clickbait? No. Not every clickbait is the best. I'm trying my best to do what I can, and sometimes I fuck up. So that wasn't the best clickbait. Anyway, I mean, are you satisfied with the way that we just discussed the situation?
I'm absolutely satisfied. Don't worry, brother.
Great. So there are numerous other videos that you've made. You've been making constantly videos about me. You've been tweeting about me a whole lot.
You were the one tweeting about me, and then I responded to some of the tweets.
Well,
you said that you created me as a content creator. You remember that part?
What happened?
Remember, you literally rehashed all of this by saying that you created. Like, if you just decided to respond to what I said in my videos, that would have been fine. But you like, for whatever reason, months later, decided to be like, I created Papa Gut unprompted because some random person said that like Papa Gut and Cabos were cooler than you.
Great to talk about this because here's the thing. I never said I created you. I said that people in the commentary community learned of you through our discussion.
Wow,
so
incredible.
And it's actually true. You go back to their if you want to go back and see how they reacted to what happened in our discussion, you will see that they say like, I don't know who this guy is, but here's the thing. So
yeah, so that's just a dishonest framing of the entire situation. You had an unhinged meltdown. What did I say? You said nobody would know who Papa Gut is in commentary had I not given him crumbs.
I don't have the tweet in front of me.
Nobody would.
I don't have the tweet.
Nobody.
So say what.
Hold on. Let me go. Nobody would have known who Papa Gut is in commentary had I not given him crumbs by doing a debate with quotations, whatever.
Exactly.
Hold on. It's not finished. With the sole. With the sole purpose of calling him an insult to his face and laughing about it in his face. This is a suggestion that you somehow created me. People already knew who I was. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Because of how...
No.
Go ahead.
Wait a second. Please. Wait a second. I never said I created you in that tweet. I said nobody in commentary would know who you are.
That's objectively false, though, because like a lot of people already knew who I was in commentary.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't know. Maybe I didn't know who you were. A few of the other people that I follow, they didn't know who you were, so... Maybe I was.
So this was just like an honest mistake that like you weren't showing that you're crumbs of cloud for Papa Gut, poor Papa Gut, and that you weren't trying to dunk on me in the original debate where you got plastered unintentionally.
How am I dunking on you?
You say that you only went and had the conversation with me to call me an insult to my face and laugh about it.
Oh, geez, this is like crazy.
Is it possible for someone to be a mediator? I'm sorry, but is it possible for someone to be a mediator?
No.
I'm shutting up now.
Continue. I know just because Dennis is saying that like he's getting an unfair shake doesn't mean that he is.
Can somebody
No,
please
we're
be
not
a
doing
mediator?
To continue what you want to say,
What
Dennis. This is why I want to.
Yeah, let's have Keemstar
I'm
do
not having
it.
Keemstar do it. I do not want to have Keemstar be the mediator. Def, continue with what you wanted to say.
Nicholas, you want to be? Can you be the mediator?
So pathetic.
Can I replace Papa Gut instead?
Dennis, just so you know, he's live streaming this.
Yeah, I figured.
Yeah.
I figured he would.
Because this is like, I know Papa Got's trying to get it across, but it's like, this is like, you need a mediator because this isn't.
Oh my lord! This
It'll
is
be more
one of
helpful.
like the really big problems with this being like a live thing. There really doesn't need to be a mediator. I'm not talking over Dennis in this way that you think I am. I'm calling him on his bullshit without him letting me steamroll. I've talked to him before.
Papa Gut, in his defense, which I don't usually say often, this is really going nowhere. It's just like you're putting out 6 paragraphs, and then Dennis responds to the first one, and then we get bogged down by like 6,000 more paragraphs.
Okay, so go ahead, Dennis. Because he's lit. I mean, like not for nothing, but like it's a lie lying about everything that he's saying.
Can we all agree? Can we all agree? Nick is somewhat of an impartial mediator. Can he be the mediator?
Yeah, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, Nick, please mediate.
Okay, sure. Can we try to get on something that's a little bit more relevant than
Well, listen, the framing of the conversation is where Def wanted to start. We're pretty close to the point that we're trying to get to, so why don't we just continue going through the chain of events? This is the way that he wanted to operate.
Sure, but I'll stop you guys if this keeps going into the weeds.
Okay, so where were we?
I was reading the tweet to you that you had made about how you got my career started.
Oh, so nowhere in the tweet, I mean, it's pretty evident. You read the tweet. Nowhere in the tweet does it say that I made you. It says that nobody in the commentary community would know who you are. And that was my impression. If you're telling me otherwise, then that is fine. I had the wrong impression, I guess. Maybe it's the people that I knew who didn't know you. I don't know what it is.
So what was the intention of the tweet then?
Just to fill in context there, because hi, commentary community here. We knew Papa Gut because he reacted to a lot of our videos. There's probably no way you would have known that, Dennis. But I definitely remember bitching about Papa Gut, specifically for that reason, before this.
So what's the intention of the tweet then? What was the point of you trying to say the tweet?
I don't know. I was saying something tongue-in-cheek, replying to somebody who has no followers. I don't know how that's a dunk. You thought it was a dunk?
Well, no, I didn't think it was a dunk. I think that it was you trying to say that like, you created me as a cope because like your career is spiraling out of control because of the way that you've been acting. People have been seeing the real who you are.
So let me see if I understand this correctly. So you're saying that because my career is spiraling out of control, the only thing that I have left in my career is to claim your success. That's what you're saying.
No, I think that you have a grudge against me because we can probably directly see like a lot of people realize like the bad person you are from our first interaction, and now you like hold a grudge against me for that reason.
Okay, so why do you think I'm a bad person?
Because of the way that I see you interact, I don't think that you were genuine in general. I think that you can directly point to the fact that you don't see the.
Why do you think I'm not genuine?
Well, Dennis, because I see you talk about social issues, like when it comes to like women's issues, and then laugh at somebody who is getting emotional over listening to a traumatic rape story.
So you think that a person has to be 100% serious? They can never crack jokes if they're serious, or if they're cracking jokes, they're only cracking jokes. They can never go and be different.
Okay, so 2 things. First and foremost, the cracking jokes. Like, I make a lot of jokes on my platform as well. I don't make jokes about like I don't laugh at people who are expressing like real traumatic situations. That I don't think is funny. Do you think that that's funny? Like
you're saying you've never done.
What I'm saying is I don't do that. I don't.
Somebody can go through all your videos right now. They can go through every single. You haven't done that in like the last month.
I've never personally laughed at somebody's trauma.
There isn't a single instance of you doing that.
You could probably talk about the B family girl when I initially had like that bad reaction where I thought she was being disingenuous, and then after people said I think that you're.
Oh, so you're saying now you're backtracking.
Well, not really
and
backtracking.
You're saying that
I'm talking about a failure that I made as a content creator and very quickly owned up to it.
Okay,
you're still sitting here pretending like you didn't do a bad thing.
But you see how that's contradictory? You see how that's contradictory? Because you just said you're trying to hold me to a standard that not even you can hold yourself to. This is what you're saying. No, I'm exploring the hypocrisy of Papa Gut right now.
Not really.
Because you're trying to hold me to a standard that you just admitted you can't hold yourself to. So help me understand why it is that you can laugh at a young girl's trauma but I can't do what I do for a
So
living.
in instance number one, where I had laughed at her trauma, right? It was really shitty. The reason I did is because if you look at it from a real world perspective, nobody's going to have a trauma from somebody talking shit about you to their brother when you don't even hear it. I failed to account for the fact that it went viral.
Wait,
I'm literally in the middle of this conversation. The fact that because she wouldn't know about it. That's why. Because this is like shit talking. It's wrong, but you wouldn't develop a trauma from shit talking indirectly.
So wait,
okay,
now you're hold up, because it's a little contradictory.
not really.
Because
It's you were begging for a moderator, and now you won't let me
Papa
speak.
Gut, you gotta let Def Noodles
How? Wait. I'm in the middle of answering his question, and now you're moderating as if I need to let him finish, but he's interrupting me, which I would be fine with. But you guys begged for a moderator. I don't understand the framing of this situation. I'm in the middle of answering his question of how is this not hypocritical. So I'm now defining both instances. So this is if you I'm fine with the back and forth, but like I've let him speak, and now you want to cut me off because he wants to cut. You guys aren't doing a very good job moderating. So what's the point here?
So 1 second, okay? 1 second. So you just said that you laughed at her because of her trauma, and yet you went so far I forgot what the point was. But you said you were talking about. So you. So what's the difference between her trauma and you laughing at her versus you? I think you made a video. I didn't watch it. I saw a clip of it where you talked about your situation, talking about someone else's experience. But here's the thing: you're a secondary source of that experience, and she's a primary. So you're literally laughing at a victim and then talking about standing up for victims. So help me understand that.
I was going to. Can I actually talk this? I was in the middle of doing that when you cut me off, and then we got off the track. So let me start over again, right? First and foremost, the difference is that I'm apologetic and you're still leveling down. Second of all, in this instance, right, we have the situation of this girl being indirectly, somebody's talking shit about her. Now, in the real world, she would never have heard that, and it wouldn't be a source of trauma because you can't be traumatized if you don't hear something. However, I failed to account for the fact that it was made public, and she's now the center of all this attention that she doesn't want about her and her body. So that was me acting inappropriately, and then almost instantly after I was called out for that, said, you know what, that was actually really wrong, right? That's owning my mistake. Okay. Scenario number two, in scenario number two, I make a video that you claim that you didn't watch, which, by the way, it's weird that you're commenting on a video that you didn't watch, but in a video where I'm expressing how somebody very close to me, a very intimate story that I'm very tired of having to explain, but anyway, you should have seen it already. An intimate story about somebody that I love very much, expressing to me a violent rape trauma, about how my initial reaction was to get angry and saying, I want to hurt this person, and then her saying, are you okay? Which really fucked me up because now I'm unintentionally personalizing this story, which makes me really upset. And then moving on after hearing these horrific things that she told me, asking me if she was actually raped. That doesn't mean that I'm traumatized, but it's invalidating of that person's trauma to continuously, even after people have explained to you the context, for you to be doubling down and saying it's just a joke. Why? That's the entire context.
I want to understand again. So as far as I remember, when you were talking about the EB girl, you repeated it a little bit earlier. You said that bullying online wouldn't cause her trauma, the type of bullying that she got.
I literally did not say that.
So what did you have, like the exact quote? Because as far as I remember,
this is
and
really
you said it a few minutes ago.
Literally 30 seconds ago. This is the third time I'm explaining this. I don't know if you actually don't understand what I'm saying, or if you're being dishonest, because this is an insane gaslight. Okay. Can I explain it again, or would you like to continue?
Bro, let me say something, because now you're just throwing a whole bunch of stuff. So, okay, this is what I remember you saying
30 seconds ago.
And you said it. You may have not said it just a minute ago, but you said it like a few minutes ago, where you said. And I even asked you, said you can't be traumatized from being bullied online.
That's not what I said.
A minute, and you said no, you took it back. Okay, so that's fine.
I never said you can't be traumatized.
People can go back and watch the video.
So can I reframe this correctly?
I want to understand your lack of charitability, because this was like 4 or 5 months
ago.
No,
I'm not playing this game. No, reference you mocking me for expressing a rape trauma. I want you to stop going back on this point. Talk about this 5 months ago nonsense. comment directly on what you said. Are you apologetic, or do you still think it's funny to mock personal rape victims?
I'm getting there.
We're already there.
If you don't let me talk, then I can't make my point, and you're just talking over me the whole time. So here's the thing.
I need to turn that down.
5 months ago, you literally just admitted that you laughed at this girl's trauma. You laughed at it.
And then I
apologized
immediately.
And now, that's fine that you apologize. Now, you're piggybacking off of someone else's trauma so that you can drum up sympathy for yourself.
Dennis, because I don't want to move past this point, because this is like a really, something. Dennis, have you ever loved somebody before?
Nicholas.
Don't, Nicholas. You're.
Yeah, man. I don't fucking.
No, don't. This is like a really dishonest thing. No, Dennis. This is a really good question. Have you ever been in love before?
Okay, look,
Dennis, do you think that if somebody that you loved told you that they were violently raped, that you would go, oh, you're piggybacking a trauma? Is that how you would interact with that situation?
Let me finish my point.
You're saying I'm piggybacking off of trauma, Dennis. This is pathetic.
Okay. Let me finish my point, and then you can, you literally just a few months ago, in March of this year, 2022, you did that. You admittedly said that you made fun of this girl for her trauma. This trauma that you're using to cry about on the internet is not your trauma. I understand that you stand for trauma. I stand against trauma. I said it earlier here, I have a lot of fucked up trauma in my own life. I know
so
a
then
lot
why
of
don't you
people
care about anybody else's trauma?
I know a lot of people who are traumatized. I think all of us in the chat right now know somebody and carry our own traumas. Okay? So it's very different to use somebody else's, what you're doing, is using somebody else's trauma as a shield so that you can get sympathy. I understand that it's somebody you love. I love a lot of people.
I don't think you do if you don't understand where I'm coming from. I think you're just very emotionally mature if you don't understand where I'm coming from. And that's all I can really say.
Trust me, I was in a relationship for 8 years before this. Okay, I know love. I know what it's like to live and be with somebody. Trust me, I know exactly what it's like to share your life with somebody. Okay, I know exactly what that's like. So I'm just drawing the parallel of you laughing at this girl's trauma and now using someone else's trauma to drum up sympathy for yourself. I mean, would you, without that being, how would you confront or respond to the joke that I made without using the trauma as a shield?
Well, Dennis, the joke is the trauma, so how can I not use the trauma as part
Not
of it?
your trauma, though. Someone else's trauma. Please talk about it. Like, how would you respond without using that trauma?
I wouldn't, because
it's
something that's very real that is very upsetting to me. What are you talking about?
You understand what you're doing. You're weaponizing someone else's
anything. I'm not weaponizing.
You're
telling Dennis
trauma. Okay. You're weaponizing someone else's trauma to try to score sympathy points on the internet.
I'm not weaponizing anybody's trauma whatsoever here.
So respond to the joke that I made without talking about the trauma.
It's impossible because the trauma is what upsets me. I don't understand. Like, I just don't think that.
So how does me saying? So explain to me then. How does me saying that you look like a pedophile make you think of somebody else's rape?
Oh yeah, let me bring it up. So, this is like, again, when our first interaction. There seems to be a history of you supporting incredibly over-exaggeratory rape accusations. For instance, with Killick, who was called a pedophile, a predator, a rapist for being 17 years old.
Where did I support the? Hold on.
Dennis,
this was months. This was first off. This was months before
I can't respond. Where's the moderator, huh, Dennis?
Huh?
So, Dennis, let me. We're doing like the back and forth thing, right? Okay. So we had that interaction. My big primary point was that they had a massively disproportionate response, calling a 17-year-old a rapist, a pedophile, and a predator for making a very inappropriate joke about a 15-year-old, right? And you supported them. Then you recently admitted in our live together that you just went in there to troll me and that you didn't actually mean anything you said. So I can only assume that that's part of your rhetoric, which is just pretending to care and not really giving a shit enough to look into actual situations, right? Moving on to, despite the fact that you've been specifically explained. Oh yeah. Additionally, joking about pedophilia. I don't know why anybody would do that. That's invalidating to survivors of molestation.
Okay,
I'm not done. And then following up.
You made a lot of statements.
You should let him finish.
Dennis, I'm fine with like the shouting back and forth, but you can't do it too. The reason that I'm being more upfront is because you did not stop screaming in our first conversation, and you need to be talked to like this, or else nobody will get like an edge in. Okay. So
Okay.
again,
That's okay.
Yeah, yes, that's how you interact.
Our conversation with like 50 different people, and it wasn't like this. So maybe
Because
it's just
Dennis,
the dynamic.
They're not me. That's what do you mean it wasn't like this? Like if you shouldn't have been like going after me if you didn't want me to confront you.
What are you talking
You're saying
about?
it was
I
so
just
much
said,
nicer when the other people were in here. I'm not going to be nice about this. I'm being blunt with you because our first conversation you screamed when I was charitable. I have to interact in a way where I stand strong here because this is how you operate. You scream and you yell and you interrupt people and you dishonestly frame things that happened 30 seconds ago. So like let's stop getting off onto these tangents when like you try to play these like weird framing games and let me finish and then you can respond or we could just yell. I don't really care at this point.
Hey, I'm not.
Okay, Papa Gut, that was your thing? All right, Dennis, go.
Okay, thank you, Nick. Okay, so I love it that we've arrived at the pedophile joke section of the conversation. I want to know from you, is it funny for a grown man to fuck a 14-year-old? A grown man like you?
No, I don't think that jokes about rape are appropriate at all.
Okay. So, do you think it's funny? Do you think it's a joke to fuck kids?
No, not at all. I think it's disgusting. That's why I wouldn't joke about somebody being a pedophile.
So you don't think it's a joke? You don't think it's a joke to fuck kids?
No, I think it's disgusting.
So you agree with me putting the word joke in quotations in that tweet? Because I don't find it to be a joke.
A really disingenuous move here. Yeah, so you were trying to... Dennis, the joke wasn't... The joke wasn't about me fucking kids. The joke was, in its full context, which you still can't get right, if she's old enough to bleed, she's old enough to breathe. Thank you very much, Andre Lopez, for the advice. Now, it was an inappropriate joke I never should have made, which I've been saying for a year now. But the intention was to call out somebody who was, when they were 23, allegedly raped a 14-year-old, slept with a 14-year-old. So the intent is very clear that that's what I'm calling out. You, on the other hand, are calling me a pedophile because you're unhinged and upset because your career's spiraling, and you point to me for the reason.
So here's the thing. I'm happy that you admitted at first that it's not a joke to fuck kids.
Sure.
I'm happy you admitted to that. It was interesting to see you backtrack and try to then claim that it's a joke. It's interesting logic there. But
who do you think is going to like look at this and go, "Wow, Dennis is so smart"?
I can't finish the statement. This is crazy.
Well, because you're being a dishonest piece of shit. Like you're gaslighting everybody in real time.
This is going to be impossible.
Yeah, it is. I mean, you already are refusing to talk about how you're joking about someone's violent rape. So, like, this is where we're at now. Like, there's no, like, there is very little productivity because you are so wildly dishonest about everything that we can't have a reasonable conversation. The only reason that
how
Dennis,
is it?
You're
how
trying
am I
to say that I think it's funny to rape kids when I have used my platform since its beginning to deplatform actual pedophiles. Actual pedophiles.
How is it dishonest,
Dennis?
You're
trying to make it seem like I wasn't joking. You were insinuating that I wasn't joking because you want me. Okay. You want to do everything you can to label me a pedophile because you want to be platform people who've used TikTok to try to rape children. That's what I've done. While you sit down and talk about how big of a shit Trisha Paytas made, I'm talking about real things and putting my platform on the line. Okay? Educating people about sexual assault culture. Like, that's what I do. And, like, this is what's happening. You can, oh boy, but, like, what do you do all day but talk about bullshit, drama, irrelevant news while pretending to be funny? Like, it's insulting to, like, it's just an insulting thing. And now you're pretending like anything you're saying is an honest framing while desperately trying to walk away from talking about how you are still doubling down on joking about my wife's violent rape that led her to bleed for a week. That's what was happening because you are desperate to not. You're saying I'm piggybacking on this trauma. It's insane that you're saying I'm piggybacking. Dennis, I am recalling an experience of my wife sitting down in the car, the first moment where she really opened up to me, talking about how she was violently raped. How much it upset me because I handled it the wrong way, because I got so angry I made it about me and about her asking if I'm okay. It shattered me as an individual, Dennis. This is what I'm talking about, right? And then asking if she thinks,
I'm gonna get so much shit from this.
That it was really rape. Have you? This is the fucking situation, and you're saying I'm piggybacking a trauma. Dennis, this is
Papa
horrible.
Gut, are you too emotional to have this
No,
conversation?
this is why I didn't want to have you guys fielding this situation. Because I know that you got
I'm trying not to field the
stop.
situation, but we're not getting anywhere here. This is like victim Olympics.
No, this isn't victim. This is
back to actual
Jesus
points.
Christ, Nick, you need to stop. I understand in the commentary sphere, you guys have different types of conversations. This is a big conversation. Like, I'm 32. I know.
Okay, but you're not owning him.
I'm
when
not.
You go, like,
because I know the way that you guys are framing it. Oh, Dan, Papa Gut, you're not owning him because you're expressing a real trauma. Dennis is trying to make the assertion that I'm piggybacking a trauma while desperately avoiding the situation. And you guys are running defense because this is how you talk. That's fine. I'm trying to have a very real conversation here with a lot of stakes. It's okay if you think less of me because I'm expressing this. I'm okay with that. But this is why I didn't want to get pulled into a Twitter space with hundreds of people on it, because I knew we were going to play a game where everybody was going to want to get their 2 cents in. But this is distracting from the conversation. If you think that I'm going to...
I'm just saying, but you interrupted my argument with him that was more productive than the conversation you're having right now.
You mean what? With the one when I wasn't here? If you guys would like to go back to talk about that, that's totally fine. This is supposed to be a conversation between me and Def. And again, the fielding of everybody else in here weighing that they're putting their 2 cents in is completely unproductive. And this is why I didn't want to do it in this style, but this seems to be the only way that it's going to happen. So you guys need to stop weighing in. It's okay that you have your opinions. Totally fine. But again, it's distracting from the core argument. I went off and I was talking about the situation. This is an oppression Olympics. I know maybe it looks like some of you guys, you probably don't, but maybe you know people who are trying to do this to be disingenuous. I hate bringing up this point. It's an embarrassing point that I bring up. The fact that I have to keep reliving my wife's trauma, like showing it on the internet. She's not happy about this. She's sitting here listening to. Do you think that we're like jerking off? Oh my God, I can't wait to talk about this thing that's so sensitive and private. No, but the reality is that this is the center point of it. And Dennis is desperately trying to double down on making a joke about my wife being raped. And I just don't really understand, or at the very least, excuse me, let me frame that properly. Doubling down on my emotional reaction to like relaying that experience. And that's what this comes down to. So let Dennis speak. This is not going to be productive if you guys keep butting in.
All right, I agree with you. Let Dennis speak.
Sure. Okay. All right. So there's a lot that just got said. Like, I don't even know where to begin.
Begin with my wife's rape.
Yeah. First off, I mean, I please tell me where I joked about.
You
her
had
rape.
said that I'm piggybacking on her trauma, and then
So tell me how that.
Sure. So again, you're belittling the situation by suggesting that I'm piggybacking on it.
How am I observation? It's an observation. How is it a joke?
Because you keep showing.
Called it a
because
joke.
You keep showing my face crying, Dennis. That's the joke, right?
How is it? No, that's you. I'm not.
So you weren't joking by
make,
showing that face and making a T-shirt out of it?
Hold on. No, I didn't. I didn't show your wife. I didn't mention your wife. I didn't talk about her. I showed your face.
Yeah.
I showed your face. And by the way, I didn't even watch the clip long enough to know that that's what you talked about. I watched the part where you said, "This isn't a joke, Dennis," and then you go and you start crying, and then I have to get back to work.
I didn't start crying until I finished talking about my wife.
Here's the thing.
So I don't really know what you're talking about. If you watched that, you know what it was about.
That was the clip I watched.
That's
the clip somebody sent me, and I've already explained it here earlier.
Well,
like
now that you know
ago.
context, do you think that maybe it was an insensitive that you'd be like, you know what, Papa Gut, I didn't know that that's what it was about, and now that I do, I'm going to retract that. It was kind of shitty, even if it was just a joke. That's all you have to say. Like, yeah.
You know what? I took the T-shirts down. I talked to some of your fans earlier. Like, so, I recognize the lines. The lines are in different places for different.
So what
people.
You're saying is, do you apologize for the joke? Do you apologize for making a satirical display of me for that, or are you doubling down?
Like, I'm trying to understand what it is because you've made several.
Yeah, we can talk about that right after
me.
you answer this very simple question. Do you apologize for it, or are you doubling down? You can certainly double down. Just say it. Double down, apologize. Two options.
Can I I want to be able to conclude a thought because
you're
it's
trying
not
to
going to be
walk off of the primary situation because you know that if you give a genuine answer, you're going to look stupid. So just answer the question, move on to anything you want to talk about, but stop trying to pivot away from the initial conversation.
Okay. Can I get a word in?
Sure, go ahead.
Okay. So you said I was joking about your wife's rape. I explained exactly. In fact, for people who have been hearing this for the 4 or 5 hours that I've been on, you know that I said this like 3 hours ago, that I said this exact same thing. So you know I'm coming from an authentic place. This is exactly what happened because I didn't even know the full context of this until you just told me right now. So I'm just literally repeating what I said 3 hours ago. I was sent this clip. I watched it for like 15 seconds in my office, and I got a screenshot, and I have to go back to work. So here's the thing. I wasn't making fun of your wife's sexual assault. That was not the intention at all with any of that. In fact, your fans asked me to take down the shirt. I took down the shirt. I took down a few of the other posts. At the end of the day, if you're feeling personally, I can't speak for your significant other, but if you're feeling hurt by these jokes, I'm more than happy to talk to you about them, okay? And I'm more than happy to understand everything that's going on. At the end of the day, if it really hurt you and it hurt your feelings that I joked about you looking like a pedophile, then I apologize. I am sorry.
Dennis. Thank you.
Feelings
Thank
hurt.
you so much, Dennis. I appreciate it. But can we quickly? Yeah. I just wanted to be very concise here. Or are you still going? Go ahead. Go ahead.
I want to finish my point. I just want to finish my point real quick. Sure. Now, you should know that we are on the internet, and as entertainers, people are going to say a lot of shit. Okay. In fact, I've done a lot of different shows and things, and I've had people in different shows call me crazy things, and it just maybe a thought for the future, because people, the more you grow, the more shit people are going to say about you. But, maybe prepare yourself as you grow to hear some of these other things from other people, because not everyone is going to reach out and try to have a conversation with you about it the way that I'm doing. And a lot of people will, in fact, double down. Huh?
Continue. The only reason you're having this conversation is because you realized that this was a really bad look for you. You would have never done this if people were agreeing with you.
How do you know?
Because it's a very reasonable assumption considering you doubled down for the past week. But continue your point. This isn't an appeal to emotion, but you would have never done this if it wasn't for you getting completely plastered for the past week. You don't actually care. Same thing as last time. You didn't talk to me until you felt.
Oh my God.
So continue your point.
Dude, you're the fact you're jumping to conclusions and putting words in my mouth is the weirdest thing.
I'm holding you accountable for your shitty actions.
How are you holding me accountable? You're literally making stuff up.
No, I'm telling the truth. You're very easy to read. You're not a very you're somebody that a lot of people meet. You're the guy who's very full of yourself, very egotistical, and then you will generally get away with whatever you kind of want. But when you don't, you have a hissy fit and you cry, and then you go on a tirade talking.
So explain. So tell me, have you ever met me in person?
No, I don't think that I need to. This is the age of the internet. So I don't think I need to meet somebody in person to know you personally. Even if this is just an act that you're putting on the internet, it's very transparent.
So you're telling me that when you watch a movie, you think that Tommy Lee Jones
conversations with Tommy Lee Jones. I've had conversations with you multiple times before. It's not the same thing.
Finish my point.
I've already blasted your point. Finish it, but it's a dumb point.
So you're telling me that when you watch a movie,
this isn't a movie. You believe we talked before. This isn't a movie. Bro. You don't need to finish a point. It's a garbage point. You look like an idiot. Dennis, we are talking now. We've talked before. I see you live interacting constantly in the way that we interact with each other. You're not Tommy Lee Jones. You're not Stephen Colbert. You're Dennis. And we talk together, and I see how you interact with different situations in the real world. And I know you as a person because you're an easy read. You're not a complex individual.
Can I get
a
word in?
So I can say the same thing again. Oh, you've never met Tommy Lee Jones. You just watch TV about him. It's a good point.
Okay. Go ahead. You just said I could talk, and then you interrupted me. You're gonna let me talk? Okay, cool. So here's the thing. You're basing all of your assumptions on who I am as a person on the sliver that I show on the internet. I upload 8 to 10 minute videos on the internet. I do a live stream 3 days out of the week. That's 2 hours. There are 24 hours in a day. You literally get to see minutes of who I am and what I do. And you're basing an entire assumption of who I am on this microcosm that I present on the internet. So, I mean, with that being said, do you feel like you just, for yourself, everything encompasses everything that you, the way that you present yourself, I don't know anymore.
If you watch my content, this is for the most part the way that I interact. If someone said, Papa God, I know you because I watch your content, I'd say, you're right.
You're essentially saying I'm like a bad person based on 8 minutes that you don't even watch.
Based on a 2-hour long conversation plus this interaction where you have an unhinged meltdown and decide to call me like a pedophile constantly because you can't cope with the fact that your career's dying. Like, yes, Dennis, I know you, especially when you see somebody in their rawest form, their most emotional form. You get to really know who they are. I know you. You're not complex, Dennis. Okay? You're a walking red flag.
I'm a walking red flag. And you do this for everybody across the board. You see them and you immediately judge them
I've been interacting with you for a while. We had a whole 2-hour conversation. I've talked to some people in here. I know them pretty well. They know me. If Nicholas Iorio said, Papa Gut, I think this about you, there's a good chance he has a reason for it. Probably because he watches my content and he's interacted with me before. So I can make the same about you. The difference is, Dennis, is that your niece is
So here's my thought on this, right? My first impression of you was that you weren't very charitable towards me, that you just literally hid parts of what I had done in the video.
Why are we getting so off topic about, like, why don't you want to talk about this? Because we've gone back to this, and Dennis, I was like, Dennis, I'd really like to push you. I'd really like to push you on this whole thing where you were joking about, right? I want to talk about that. You keep going back to this. I don't really care, mostly because, like, we were really on this point, and you've done it about 3 times now, and I'm looking for a very simple answer. I got very upset and emotional because I was recalling my interaction with my wife, expressing to me her horrific trauma, which kind of fucked me up a little bit. I wouldn't say I'm traumatized. I had a genuine response. You took a picture of me saying that, made it shirts, whatever. Now that I explained the full context, let's say you didn't know the full context. That's totally fine. Now that I've explained it, would you say, you know what, Papa Gut, I probably should have done that. My bad. That's all I need. Yeah, you know what, that was kind of shitty. That's okay. All you have to say is that, and I would say, Dennis, I understand because I've been there too. We've all made mistakes. That's all you have to say.
Can you just please for a second let me talk? Like, you don't let me finish any of my points.
I let you finish all of your points. You just don't like them pushing you really hard.
No,
yes,
that's not what it is.
You steamrolled me. You had 80% of the conversation.
God, can I respond? Nick, please.
Somebody else. I can't defend myself.
Listen, I'm going to be honest with you. Def, if you want to have a conversation at some point soon, I'd love to talk to you. I feel like I could have a nice, calm conversation.
Yeah.
I can't do this moderation shit. This
That's fine.
crazy.
Listen, I really want to stop getting off the point about this, like, you know, the picture.
Yeah.
Then, Dennis, again, I've talked to you before, and you do your best to try to, like, pivot. Again, let me just say one more time, and I want just a genuine answer. I'm giving you an out. I'm saying, Dennis, I've been there. I've made jokes that are unintentionally bad because I don't understand the full context. Are you apologetic about joking about me getting upset that my wife was raped? That's it. Is that still funny to you?
Are you going to let me talk?
Yes. Answer the question, Dennis. You got it. Floor is yours.
Okay, great. So what you just showed to me is that you're not listening at all to anything I'm saying. Because 3 minutes ago, I asked you about the joke. I explained exactly what happened. Exactly, that I did not know. I didn't watch the full context of the video, that I just got the screenshot, and that was it. And then I said that I apologize.
Oh, no, you didn't. You said that No. Now, I accept your apology, Dennis. Thank you so much, even though I was lying. But here's the thing. You kept saying that. You didn't apologize. You kept saying different people have different joking lines. That's you desperate to not answer the question. Don't give me this disingenuous bullshit. You never apologize. You said everybody has a different line. You were doubling down. And now I ask you a very basic question. You apologize, and now you say you do. So you apologize for being insensitive, right? We're good? That's cool? You don't think it's funny that my wife was raped anymore?
Here's the thing, dude. I'm going to end up having to mute your mic if you're not going to let me talk so that I can actually respond.
Go ahead.
That's how, since nobody else wants to moderate.
I'll moderate.
Is Paige Christie here? Because then she can jump in as a moderator.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why is Tyler
so,
playing? Oh,
let's,
working now again.
What happened?
You apologize?
Is Paige?
Who's Paige?
Do you want to add Paige Christie on so she can moderate?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Is she wants to moderate? Where is she?
Yeah, I think she'll do a good job at moderating.
Okay.
I doubt she's here. She's in the UK and it's 3 in the morning.
She's here. She's here. Don't worry. She's coming. I think.
She is here.
Is she on her way?
Okay, I'm looking through.
So she's also in your chat. So
why am I just laughing?
Are you guys confirming that? Because I'm going to go to the bathroom really quick if that's what's going to happen.
All right.
I'm going to pee really quick, okay? And then when she comes in, she can...
Hey, I'm here if you want me to help out.
Can you moderate?
Sure.
Can you help moderate?
Sure.
Okay. Great. All right. So this conversation got all out of whack. Is he here?
Oh,
Or did
he's gone to the toilet now. So if you give him a moment, and by that
While he's at
time,
the toilet,
Paige might be here.
What the fuck?
while he's at the toilet, like, there's a circle of apologies. Can you guys, or can you just state like what you're apologizing for, or if you apologize for anything? Because I feel like it's the circle of, well, you're not sorry for this, and you did this, and it's like, I think.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. It's like, you know, it's kind of difficult to keep up because he keeps like leveling accusations against me and like changing the conversation
Well,
into
are
other
you
things.
Are you apologetic for anything? Because I think that will, like, okay,
So,
yes, I apologize. You know.
I said, I mean, you'll remember I said it just a couple of minutes ago. I said that I apologize because I didn't know that had anything to do with his wife rape or any of that. That was not my intention to make fun of her rape. So I apologize to him for that. So
I know, but I don't think it's clear when you guys are going in circles. I think it's not clear. So I think if you just upfront, like, I apologize for because I said this, and I apologize if I did this. Like, you know what I mean? Because I think that's
from what I from what I understand, there was a picture that was clipped from a video where Papa was upset listening to a story about sexual assault, and that photo was clipped and used for a T-shirt. Dennis didn't know that that's what that was from. Is that correct? Am I following correctly?
Sure. Yeah, that's what he says. Sure.
Yeah. So, and I followed up after explaining that I apologize for doing that because I didn't know the full context of the video. So
I
that's,
appreciate the apology.
I mean,
like the first time for context, let's understand that you said that everybody has a different line for comedy, and now you're finally apologizing. I think it's actually accurate because that's exactly.
No, that's not what I.
Okay, you can say that, but that's what you were saying.
That's not what I said.
Sure.
Okay. Anyway, either way, whether or not I said that, this is where we're at. Okay, that's the apology right here. Okay, I apologize for that. You know, I did not mean to hurt your feelings with that situation. So,
oh, wait a minute. Wait. You said you apologized if I felt upset? Is that what you said?
Honestly, I've been talking to people for like 6
hours.
Let
me say it again, because people are telling me that you said that you apologized for me being upset. That's not an apology. That's actually passive aggressive.
Wait,
you apologize for posting the picture, or because I got upset?
Can I get a thought out? Can I please get a thought out? Hold on, my dogs. I apologize.
What are you apologizing because I'm upset, or because like what you did was wrong? Now that you know the context.
Look, I've been doing this for like 6 hours. I apologize if I get fogged up. What I literally said before that was that I apologize for the photo, for sharing that photo, putting it on the T-shirt, that I did not know the full context of it, okay? I don't know what else you want to get out of this situation, so I want to make sure that we're only...
I was just clarifying, because apparently earlier you said that you were apologizing because I got upset that you did that thing, not for the actual thing. But it sounds like what you're saying now is that for doing the things. Okay.
We're like getting in the weeds of like these words.
Well, that's what
semantics.
This is about, right? Semantics, because like if you play a word game, that's kind of what we're talking about. I'm literally. I said it seems like it seems like you're apologizing now. I was just making sure we're accurate. I don't know why you're getting so upset about it.
It's totally fine. Like I said earlier, I've been doing this. I don't even know how many. Somebody know how many hours I've been doing this?
Okay.
So that point I think is handled. He apologizes for posting that and not knowing the context. I guess what else do you guys want to cover?
Yeah,
I think it might be good. I guess if you want to do like a closing statement or something, we could do that. I'm totally fine with all that. I can do one, and then I can like step out because it seems like we exhausted the conversation. You can continue to do your live.
No, honestly, I have my dogs here. They want to eat. That's why they're barking. Sure. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we reached a conclusion. It feels like I guess.
Well, we never really reached why you thought it was funny to constantly call me a pedophile.
Oh my God,
so we didn't actually reach a conclusion.
Please, let me finish a thought,
sure,
please. I know you're like hyped up that you're like that you got a lot going on, but like please let me finish a single thought, like single one.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
Like, yeah, if there's nothing else that we can accomplish, I mean, we've already like talked about so much stuff. You kind of addressed the whole thing with like the pedophile joke.
We didn't really. You never said it. Like, you've been doubling down about saying, like, insinuating heavily that I'm a pedophile for like the entire time. We never actually talked about that. We talked about.
Yeah, we did.
No,
we
talked
did.
about the picture. We didn't really talk about, like, do you think it was okay to constantly label me a pedophile?
I mean, do you think it's okay to fuck kids?
No, Dennis. And I made my joke, and that's why I
Why do you
apologized. And it wasn't about fucking kids, Dennis. So this is what we're doing. You're deflecting. I apologized vehemently for a joke for a year ago, and now you're getting called on your shit, and you're back. You saying that you joked about raping kids, the same thing as I said. You got banned on Twitter for fucking exploiting children. If I just kept saying that out of context, I look stupid. That's how you look right now, constantly reinforcing a lie. Dennis, do you think it's appropriate to constantly call somebody a pedophile? Jokingly, do you think that's appropriate? Because you're suing Keemstar for doing something, and by the way, what you're doing is worse than what he's doing to you. So how is it that you can exist in this world where you think it's justifiable to sue Keemstar for what he said, but somehow it's not justifiable for what you said? I'd really like to hear your answer on this. I'd love to know the mental gymnastics and the hoops that you're going to jump through to try to explain this insane level of cognitive dissonance.
Okay, so I explained this earlier.
I wasn't here.
In the video.
I don't care.
Live. Yeah, 100%. So there's a very clear difference, okay? And the only reason why I'm actually going to talk about this aspect is because I've already talked about it publicly numerous times, even before anything was filed. So the difference is, let's look at Keemstar's statement, right? Keemstar published a statement saying that I had groomed girls, numerous girls that were victims who were going to come forward. And then he said, he labeled it as he usually labels his news pieces, #drama alert. At the top of it, if you look at his profile, he has his, it says trending breaking news, social media interactions, and leading name. And he presents his show as a news show. In fact, he's already said numerous times that he's put people behind bars while covering these allegations. That's Keemstar. That's the context of his tweet that he published as news without any indication whatsoever that it was a joke. And if you look at the replies, in fact, the quote retweets, you'll see that all of that supports the idea that people thought it was real. The false accusation that he made against me. In fact, he even later admitted that it was made falsely and maliciously. The difference between me and Keemstar goes all the way back to 2019. I did an interview, and this has been something that I've repeated over and over again. I did an interview with Vulture, New York Magazine, where I explained that my show was a parody of his show, of Perez Hilton, and other news shows, that I have a parody news show. That it's satirical in nature, but it's a parody of a news show. That I'm not an actual news source and shouldn't be considered as such. In fact, at the top of my bios everywhere, it says, so, there's that aspect. Also, would you say that saying that somebody looks like a pedophile is an accusation?
You constantly asserting that I look like a pedophile over and over again, talking about going on the street to ask people if I look like a pedophile. You're doing everything you can to play the plausible deniability game.
Okay,
yes.
So
I know that you want to play the legal game, but morally you know that you're incorrect. If it said comedian in Keemstar's bio, would what he said be appropriate?
If I say that you look like a fire extinguisher, are you an actual fire extinguisher?
Could a person ever be a fire extinguisher?
Could
a person ever be a fire extinguisher? Could a person? It's a very simple question. Can a person be a fire extinguisher?
Okay, you want a more practical example?
Can a person be a fire extinguisher? You look like the FBI.
A chef. If I say that you look like a chef,
then people can think I'm a chef. Yes, because people can be chefs. So if you said I look like a chef, people can think I'm actually a chef. That disproves your argument. You saying I look like a pedophile is an insinuation that I am a pedophile, especially with a absolutely insane, unhinged rant that you've been going on.
Saying that you look like a chef, you're I don't know if you're purposely missing.
No, I think that you don't have a point in this.
But saying that you look like a chef, saying that you look like a chef, doesn't mean that you're a chef. saying that somebody looks like somebody or like something. I can say that you look like Robert De Niro. Doesn't mean that you're Robert De Niro. I can say that you look like, the Tower of Pisa. Doesn't mean that you're the Tower of Pisa. Okay. At the end of the day.
Didn't you show a picture of me having a pedophile van and saying that that's my car? Isn't that a heavy insinuation of a pedophile?
It's not. I mean, you literally. Can you admit that saying that somebody looks like a pedophile doesn't mean that they are a pedophile?
Oh, absolutely. But you're heavily trying to insinuate that I'm a pedophile while playing plausible deniability.
Oh, it's
hey guys, I think you guys can kind of agree to disagree on this point.
I don't think that we should agree to disagree on a point where he's trying to call me a pedophile.
I understand what you're saying.
Because like this is again, like Dennis is heavily insinuating that I'm a pedophile. And so, for whatever reason, we're playing like respect Dennis for using malicious accusations that are invalidating to victims
of course. And I actually just wanted to say something, Papa. I just actually want to say something towards your side of this.
It's really unfortunate that I can't press Dennis because you guys run field for him every time we get to a point.
She's the mediator.
I'm not running. Actually, this is what I was going to say. I think in 2014, Stephen Collins, the guy that was the head actor in the show Seventh Heaven, he does not look like, I guess, what a typical, I don't know, what is the typical look of a pedophile? This guy looked like a priest, a good-looking actor. So I understand your point, Papa, of being, of feeling that is derogatory. I am not an attorney, so what I was about to say is it sounds like you didn't like the gist of the joke.
Because he was using it to try to suggest
Dennis,
that I was a pedophile while playing plausible deniability.
Of course, which is understandable.
I don't think understand is that jokes are constantly used by people as vehicles to assert particular points. Not always, but they can be. Dennis references Stephen Colbert. That's what Stephen Colbert does, right? So the idea that it's just a joke isn't something that you can just say to immediately dismiss the potential harmful nature of the joke. Right, so that's something that needs to be made clear.
So tell me what the harmful nature of saying that somebody who looks like a pedophile. How did that harm you?
So Dennis, no. So it didn't harm you because you don't have any credibility, right? But the reality is, hold on, I'm answering your question. I'm going to answer your question.
No.
Okay, so you don't want me to continue because you know it's going to look pretty bad for you, right?
You just said that it had. You said it had no harm.
Sure.
So what's the
Dennis,
point?
Calling somebody a pedophile can have harm. Thankfully, since you
but there was no harm in this.
Dennis. Thankfully, Thankfully, since you have no credibility, it doesn't cause harm. But I was answering the question of what the harm can be by falsely labeling somebody a pedophile. I want you to understand that real men, will kill pedophiles, Dennis. That is a call to violence from where I come from. So I don't take it very lightly. So that's the harm of accusing someone's a pedophile. You should understand this. I don't know why this is weird that you guys like to play everyone's a pedophile. It's fucking insane and unhinged. Not only is it a call to violence, but it's invalidating of fucking molestation victims and survivors.
Here's the thing, though.
One second. Can I add one thing? Because it didn't end there. Dennis, you also wanted to take it to the streets and ask random people on the street if this person looks like a pedophile.
And you tagged the FBI.
I think it's appropriate to do any joke about anything. I think everything is fair game. I've said this before.
I disagree. I think that's kind of shitty. But if you want to do that, that's fair game. Can I? No, I think it's totally fine. Dennis, I think it's totally fine. You joke about anything. I personally
let me, bro. Please, please let me finish one single point. Please, for the love of God, please let me finish something. Let me get one single thought out. I understand that you're hyped up and you're all emotional and stuff. It's totally fine, but let me get a thought out. Okay? So we've established the joke had no effect on you. No effect on you whatsoever. Zero. And you said it's because you have no credibility. I mean, that's the whole joke of my channel. I said this back in 2019. I said this back in 2019 in an interview with Vulture, that it was commentary on this, that I shouldn't be considered an NBC, that I shouldn't be considered a news source that's taken seriously by everyone. That I shouldn't. That's the joke of what I do. And the fact that people like you keep trying to take me seriously is,
well,
in and of
Dennis,
itself,
we can tell that you're playing a game. There's no way that you want to be seen as a guy with zero credibility, because that's how you're seen right now. It's not because of your humor. Nobody really understands the jokes that you make, because I don't even know if you're making them. But like, this is like you're saying things. I don't see why it's funny to call someone a pedophile. You've really been trying to. I don't know why. This is weird. I honestly, I think it's really weird because people have been like, Dennis, you need to take a break. You need to take a break, and I think it's shitty for people to constantly like, you know. I guess you have. I don't know, man. I think you do need to take a break. I think that you got something going on. There's probably a reason, because that's why you're talking to a therapist about Keemstar, and you should like legitimately take a break. Because, dude, this is fucking unhinged, dude. This is insane that we're even here talking about this.
I've been here for 6 or so hours. I talked to like 50 different people. We had very polite and pleasant conversations. Even when people pushed back on me, the only person who's been like literally yelling at me is
yes,
you.
Because we've had a conversation before where you screamed at me, and this is how I have to treat a child: is I have to speak up. Right? I'm not going to have a fun, nice conversation where we drink tea from somebody calls me a pedophile and makes jokes about like invalidating different traumas, et cetera, et cetera. Like, dude, like the fact that you expect me to be so nice to you, I'm being nice to you, by the way. Like, this is me being assertive, but I'm being nice. This is just what happens when like somebody stands up to you being fucking insane, right? But like, stop trying to play the game. Well, you're the only mean guy here, Dennis. You fucking constantly call me a fucking pedophile. You want me to be nice to you? You poisoned the well. Why would I be nice to you? I'm here being incredible. Considering who I am and how aggressive I can get, I'm being very nice to you, but I'm not letting you get into fucking bullshit. That's what you're upset about, because everybody else is sitting here listening to every fucking nonsensical bullshit thing that you have to say, going, Dennis, I agree. You're a good person. You're not. Those people are incredible because they have the patience for you. I've interacted with you more personally. We've been here. We've had the conversations. I've seen how you sneak your way out of incredibly slimy fucking scumbag takes. I know you. Okay, I've seen how I was massively charitable our last conversation. I know you're not a good person, and I'm not going to sit here and be charitable and let you constantly pivot onto 17 other points to avoid everything. This is how you need to be talked to, because you weren't disciplined as a child. That's where we're at.
Okay. Now you're taking the role of my dad, I guess, quote unquote.
Hey guys, I guess we can't put a blanket on whether someone
Keem
is
is
a terror
dying.
I guess what is
Blanket, I'd interact with him. I think Dennis is a bad person. That's how he interacts with me, so that's my opinion.
You're entitled your opinion.
Yes.
So, are you just trying to sort of do you want Dennis to say that joke, to agree that joke was in bad taste, or I guess what are we trying to accomplish here in this particular point of this thing about the going around and the
My point is I'm trying to interact, and he's constantly pivoting, so I'm holding him to a point. That's the entire conversation. What it's been. It's a constant pivot to different points, very dishonest points. That's what I'm engaging in. Right? And now he's like, Papa Gut, you're being mean to me. Yes, because I know that this is the way that you interact. So that's why I went on this tangent, is because he was trying to appeal to emotions, saying, guys, Papa Gut is so mean, as a way to try to like sort of subtextually say I'm a bad guy and I'm arguing in bad faith. But what I'm doing is I'm holding him to his points. I'm responding to his points that he doesn't realize he's making, because he's being dishonest. That's what I'm doing. I'm picking apart everything that he says. I am playing semantics, because this is the conversation. I'm not going to be charitable to somebody who calls people fucking pedophiles constantly. So, like, what do you like? This is the point of this conversation: is to keep Dennis held accountable for the shitty things that he has done, and that he'll continue to do if everybody runs defense for this guy. That's where we're at.
So, here's the thing: I just want to be able to get a single word in, because this whole conversation, I don't even know how long we've been just you and me here, but it's just been you railroading the whole thing. So here's the thing. You said several different things. First off, you insulted everybody in the chat right now, saying that they've been just sucking up to me when
I
a lot
I
of
love
people
them a lot, and I think that they're really kind-hearted people. I didn't.
No,
see, you're already doing the dishonesty game. But I know you more personally, so your framing is already disingenuous. I'm holding you to your shit. You're actively lying to everybody, so I'm going to correct you. Don't lie, and I won't have to interrupt you. Continue.
Let me talk. You insulted everybody in the chat.
Anybody. I said that they're really great people, but I know you more personally. You're lying again, right off the bat.
You don't know me more personally.
Then
Ari,
these guys probably, because I've interacted with you.
Bro.
Listen, here, let me just try to interject. I watched your entire YouTube video, Papa. I understand where you're coming from. Nobody wants to be called that they look like a pedophile, that they look like anything that's derogatory.
This is the second time Dennis has
course.
done this, and so he's being pushed to accountability.
I understand. Let me just
watched,
finish. I totally understand.
Instance, but again, this is an 8-month period of Dennis.
Of course, and
so
I want you to know and this is the last thing I'll say, and I'll let Dennis talk. But you know, I think a year and a half ago, Dennis did something very kind and charitable for me behind the scenes without anybody watching, and I won't even say what it is, but it was something incredible towards me, and it really changed my life in a positive way. And he didn't tweet about it, he didn't talk about it. So I disagree that he's a bad human being. I think potentially that these I do think that these jokes were made in poor taste. But I don't think he's a bad human being, and I don't think you're a bad human being. So how can we like actually resolve to just do something? I guess I mean, if you just think he's a terrible person and you're just here to prove that point and that's all the reason why we're here, or is this to try to like get something positive out of this conversation and say, hey, I need to work on this. I heard you apologize for what you said, you know, what you tweeted before, and I think that's good. Listen, this is the internet. I mean, you have to be able to apologize and move forward and agree to disagree on some points, or what is it that we're doing here? Just trying to cancel everybody?
So I'm not trying to cancel
I would
anybody.
love to know.
I'm not trying to cancel anybody, right? So here's what I said before. Let's just do a closing statement and I'll just walk off. That's totally fine. That Dennis wants to keep engaging in the conversation. But like if you want Dennis to do a closing, I'll do a closing. You can keep your live going and then we'll walk off. Like that's all I really care about doing. I came in here to hold Dennis accountable for what he said, right? So if you want to do like a closing thing out, we can bang out. That's totally fine.
Sure, I think Dennis, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I honestly appreciate helping mediate and everything. I just don't think I don't know if we can get anything else out of this conversation. Plus, like, I gotta be completely honest with all of you, I'm a little tired right now because I've been talking so long. But yeah, whatever you think is easier, let's if we want to do that, then let's do that. Do some closing or whatever it is, and move on.
Sure. You want to go first? Well, you should go first. Go ahead.
No, it sounds like you want to go. You got a lot to say.
Could I just interject really quickly? Because I just think it would be conducive for you to just explain what made that a joke, what made the pedophile joke a joke, because I don't claim to understand comedy. I don't. I'm not funny in any way. So explain to me and the people who don't understand what makes that a joke and not just a shitty statement.
Of course. There is such a thing as labeling jokes. Joke, it's a genre of jokes that typically used in improv and in roasts to label something or objects certain things. So by saying like one of the roasts there is roast jokes is one of my friends like said this joke, like they said it at a roast. It's like the video has like 5 million views on YouTube. You can probably look it up. It was at the stand. So she essentially says that the guy she's roasting looks like a Santa Claus who touches kids at a mall. That's labeling. That's essentially saying that he's a pedophile. He looks like Santa Claus. So that's a labeling joke. That's the kind of jokes you get at roasts. So what I essentially did was that type of joke. It was a labeling joke. So it was more on the nose than something left up for you to come up to that conclusion. But that's what made it a joke. It was
Why was that a joke and not what Keemstar says now that he says it's a joke? Wasn't it just a labeling joke? No, but he says he was joking. So if he had comedian in his bio, would that have meant that none of it would have mattered?
I mean, I can't litigate what's going to happen, right? Like this whole thing.
Yeah, I don't think we should do that.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's relevant to the conversation since it shows an incredible cognitive dissonance between the way that you're interacting with me and the way Keemstar interacts with you. But I understand why you can't talk about it because you have litigation. Let me just going to make you lose your case, though.
Let me just finish talking real quick. I explained this earlier to the best that I could explain it, okay? And you're free to go back and listen to the difference between my statement and his statement, okay? I explained it very plainly. I walked you through it. This is maybe the 5th time that I explained it in this whole thing. There's a very big difference. And that's
the fact that you did it for like a week and you did it for like one post, right? That was the difference.
Look, I thought we were doing closing
statements. Well, then closing statements.
Let's move forward. Let's move forward. I think that and by the way, it sounds like he's saying that this could have been a labeling joke, same as if somebody looks disheveled and they said this person looks homeless or something like that. I mean, I'm not saying whether it's funny or not.
Okay, then it's just
of course, I agree. I don't
You should
disagree,
take the
but let's
stage.
move
This
forward.
page knows what this is about, and you don't. And I'm very sorry, but it feels very one-sided towards Def. In your defense towards everything is more in like Def's favor rather than Papa Gut. Def didn't make just one joke. It's the way he worded things. It's the way that he kept on going on and on and on and on for days. So it's not about these
And
things.
he's still doubling down that it was okay. I mean, that's something that nobody's really
He still
Right.
is.
I don't want to say
Otherwise,
I'm not
apologies,
taking
yeah.
anybody's side, and like
I
I
think
said,
that you are
I
without
did think
realizing
those jokes were in poor taste,
But
but
you are. And I understand, Def did something good for you, so you want to have his back. But in
I
cases
really
like
felt
this,
for Papa when I watched that video. I didn't think it was cool, and it really made me feel like there was a lot of miscommunication going on here, and there's a lot of sort of potentially there's just a lot of distaste for each other, and when that happens,
true. But the
I
thing
think
you have to understand is that this taste from Dennis doesn't come from this isolated incident. When we had our first interaction, it really comes from a conversation where he's yelling and screaming at me while I'm trying to have a conversation with him. There's a lot here. There's a lot of history, and I understand that you got a really good interaction with him, and I think that's great. There seems to be times where Dennis can be a good person, but for some reason he's just not a good person when it comes to me. I don't know why, but like he's displayed that, and that's like the reality of what's happening here. And it's very much all like it's just all over the internet. You can watch my videos. I go in depth on every single thing, right? So that's the biggest issue.
I understand that, and I'm empathetic towards that, and I apologize if it sounds like I'm skewing one way or the other. I'm just really trying to let you guys have a conversation. Like I said,
I'd like to end like Dennis, just closing statement. I'll close, and then
do your thing.
No, you go first.
Obi, I'll let you go. Gentlemen,
All right,
go.
All right, so here's my closing statement. Here's the reality. I've interacted with you for quite a while. After our first interaction, you made a massive mistake that you admitted, right? You apologized multiple times profusely. At that time, I was being very charitable, and I was taking it as you were being genuine, right? I DM'd you. I said we could get like a beer, this and that. Like I was trying to really resolve that thing, despite everybody saying I shouldn't. Moving forward to this, your unprompted targeting of me in this weird way where you admitted that like you were never genuine in the first place has absolutely triggered me understanding, at least when it comes to your interaction with me, that you are wildly dishonest, at least when it comes to me. I don't think that you can. I'm never going to accept the apology because it doesn't come from an actual place of honesty. You've been doing your best to frame this conversation in a really dishonest way, and I don't think that you really care. I think that if nobody gave you backlash, your own community didn't give you a substantial amount of backlash, you would have doubled down and you would have felt powerful about it. But the reality is that I don't feel powerful going after people that I think are weaker than me because that's what a pathetic person does. I would never do that to the smaller content creator, and I would never disrespect somebody like that. I don't think it's funny to make these types of disgusting jokes. I made one before, even though it was in good context to try to call out a predator, which is something, or an alleged predator, which I've used my platform to do multiple times. It was still inappropriate, and I am the reason why people still talk about it, because it is something that I talk about as a failure in my career. Okay, but you continuously are doubling down, thinking it's funny to invalidate. And this is what happens when you joke about these things. It's invalidating to abuse victims. Now, I get it. In your sphere, you do you. Anybody can do whatever they want in their sphere. I'm not part of your sphere. It's not appropriate to make pedophile or rape jokes. Other people might think so, and if you want to do that, be my guest. But I think it's disgusting and invalidating, especially as somebody who purports to care about social issues. Right? If somebody else who didn't give a fuck about any like politics or something made these jokes, like a lot of the commentary community, I don't really take it as personally. But you pretend to care, and you've shown time and time again that you don't. I don't think you're honest. I don't think that you're genuine, and I think that moving from here, you're going to do your best to reclaim your career. But I'm telling you, Dennis, stop trying to interact with me, and I won't interact with you if you don't. If you stop talking about social issues, you have no fucking clue what you're talking about, because you are actively having a harmful impact on the social sphere. Your conversation with Christian Walker was insane. You let him get away with everything under the sun. You pushed back like one time. It was disgusting. You didn't push him back at all with like the homophobic shit he was saying whatsoever. Like, you've proven time and time again that you shouldn't be talking about these topics, and it's totally fine. Some people don't have an interest. I think that's totally cool. You shouldn't have an interest. It's fucking insane. But I do, and when you assassinate conversations in like different social narratives over and over again, you've proven yourself that maybe you should stick to talking about how big of a shit Trisha Paytas has taken. That's my closing statement. I'll never accept an apology because I don't think you can be genuine. But if you show me that one day, I'll cut my leg off and I'll send it to you. How does that sound?
Well, that was surely a lot.
That's a closing statement, Beth. Thank you.
Okay, you gonna let me talk, or you gonna interrupt me, even in my closing? Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, all right. Sorry, going into the other room. My dogs. So, I mean, you said a whole lot of stuff, and like honestly, there's a whole lot of it that's just like trying to frame me as like the most evil human being in the world and like the worst person ever, and I'm like such a bad person, and you know, like I'm just awful, completely awful, right? According to you, you know, even though we really have never interacted. I mean, we had like that debate, I guess, and then later on we like had, I guess, just about this past week had like somewhat of a Twitter interaction. Um, you know, the people who actually like know me and have met me and are around me like daily know that you know, I'm not like a badly intentioned person. I don't do things to like with the intention of like harming someone or destroying their lives. I try to as best as possible, and throughout these hours that I've been here talking to numerous people, not just you, I've been talking to a lot of different people today and hearing them out and trying my best to like explain where I'm coming from so they can understand where I'm coming from. At the end of the day, I honestly just want to make peace. And if you don't want to accept it for some reason, that's fine. That's your prerogative. Honestly, I don't really want to you know, create more reasons to have conflict, especially on the internet. There's already a lot of negativity, and you know, and surely some of my jokes or some of the statements that I made, you know, have helped propagate some negativity. So, you know, at the end of the day, not perfect. Gonna do my best to have better statements in the future. But yeah, I mean, honestly, I just want to. I think it was cool to have you on so that we could essentially, you know, try to make peace and come to an understanding. I know this at certain points was very confrontational. I hope everybody who's been listening, you know, and voiced their thoughts feels like they were able to voice everything that they wanted to voice. I hope everybody who's, you know, been following along for the last few hours was able to, you know, get some insight into what's going on. I really appreciate everybody who stuck around. I appreciate you know, everybody who spoke. I appreciate Nick, who was a host for a certain time. I appreciate Ari. I appreciate you know, you, Papa. You know, everybody else. I, I, I like my own tweet. Thank you for stopping by.
Hey, Dennis.
Yeah.
Before you close out, I just want to say thank you for allowing me to moderate. I know, Papa, you don't know me, but I think it was appropriate since there was horrendous and untrue things published about me in the New York Times by Taylor Lorenz. And I am basically the biggest advocate here for people who are unfairly smeared publicly. I lost my career and I was in probably the darkest place of my entire life after it happened. So I'm extremely sorry that you were both in this situation. And I hope that everyone has a chance to heal and learn from it and maybe change and do better moving forward. But anyway, I just want to say thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you for doing this. I appreciate it. Yeah, and you know, hopefully this was a sign of like the things that can be done on the internet. Two people who don't agree with each other come together and try to have a conversation and work things out in public. You know, I recently did that with Christian Walker, even though I got a lot of criticism for it. I don't agree with anything he has to say. He is kind of a basket case. There's a lot going on there. I did my best to push back. You know, and at the end of the day, I think it's important to have conversations like this because we all end up kind of understanding each other a little better, and kind of hopefully moving towards a more positive direction as far as discourse goes, because everything is just so divided nowadays. It's just so A and B, and you know, you're the enemy, you're the villain, you're the good guy, you're, you know. So I think it's better to just talk things out so we can all get along, hopefully. So yeah, I want to thank everybody who took the time to listen in and stop by and talk and do their thing. And yeah, any final words? Anybody who's here as a speaker? Anybody else want to say anything? Okay, I'm going to take that as that's the end of it. So I'm going to end this very long Twitter Spaces. I think it, like I said, I think this has been productive, even though Papa Gut and I don't really see eye to eye. I hope there's somewhat of an understanding of where I'm coming from when I do what I do. And yeah, I appreciate everybody who stayed, who stopped by, and I'll
Thank fucking God that is over. Boy, that was fucking crazy. Oh my God. Yeah, see y'all later.